Sandra all the time is here with a cold heart true. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth-telling, more problem-solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you.
Good morning. These are your CMR News headlines for January 9th.
In breaking news tonight, a divided U.S. Supreme Court rejected President-elect Donald Trump's request to stop his sentencing in the New York hush money case, scheduled for Friday. The court, in a rationale for its order Thursday, said Trump could address his issues with a verdict through appeals, and that the burden that sentencing will impose on the president-elect's responsibilities is relatively insubstantial in light of the trial court's stated intent to impose a sentence of unconditional discharge after a brief virtual hearing. Conservative Justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh would have granted Trump a reprieve. The decision closes off the last legal avenue for Trump to halt his sentencing, which takes place just 10 days before his inauguration to a second term. A Manhattan jury in May found Trump guilty of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to conceal a payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. This was the only one of Trump's criminal charges to go to trial, making him the first former or future U.S. president to be convicted of criminal charges.
Emergency services responded to a bomb threat at Grand Harbor Plaza yesterday morning, prompting a full evacuation of the commercial complex. Police, fire services, and explosives experts arrived at the scene at 10:24 a.m. after receiving the threat report. The plaza's retail stores, businesses, school, and parking areas were immediately evacuated. Following a thorough search of the premises by police and the explosives expert, the area was deemed safe and normal business operations resumed. The police are actively investigating the nature of the threat. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Georgetown Police Station at 949-4222.
Wayne Bellafont, 33, has been sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 35 years before being eligible for parole for his role in a deadly shooting outside Globe Bar that claimed 2 lives in July 2021. The sentence was handed down on Thursday, January 9th, following his conviction last year on 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and possession of an unlicensed firearm. The court heard that on July 1st, 2021, Bellafont and 2 accomplices arrived at Globe Bar on Martin Drive in a white Volkswagen, armed with firearms. The group, wearing masks, opened fire on men standing outside the establishment, firing approximately 31 shots from 3 different weapons. 1 victim died at the scene, while a second succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. A third victim survived the attack in what prosecutors described as showing a significant degree of planning and coordination. Surveillance footage captured the assailants switching vehicles after the shooting, abandoning the Volkswagen for a black Honda Accord on Watler Road. Belafont, who was injured during the incident, later changed his clothes before seeking medical attention. DNA evidence from blood samples linked him to both vehicles. The judge emphasized the premeditated nature of the attack, citing multiple aggravating factors, including the use of multiple vehicles and firearms, the public location of the shooting, and attempts to conceal evidence. Belafont, who has 26 previous convictions, maintained his innocence throughout the proceedings and has not revealed the identities of his alleged accomplices. The surviving victim continues to live in fear, knowing that at least 2 other suspects remain at large. Jamaican national Miguel Andrew Wright, 42, was sentenced to 16 months in prison for abducting and assaulting his girlfriend in an incident that occurred on August 4, 2024. Justice Cheryl Richards handed down the sentence in the Grand Court of the Cayman Islands on January 7, 2025. Wright, who appeared via video link from Northwood Prison, pleaded guilty to charges of abduction, assault causing actual bodily harm, and causing fear or provocation of violence. The court heard that Wright had lost control of himself during the incident, which involved a prolonged assault on his girlfriend following an argument outside her workplace in East End. Justice Richards noted that while the victim's physical injuries were assessed at the low level, Wright's culpability was considered high due to the extended nature of the assault. The judge took into account a social inquiry report that assessed Wright as having a low risk of reoffending. Despite a plea from the victim, who told the court she had reconciled with Wright and requested he not be imprisoned, Justice Richards proceeded with the sentencing.
The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, RCIPS, is investigating a major jewelry heist that occurred at a commercial property on Main Street in Georgetown during the early hours of December 31, 2024. According to police reports, 2 suspects gained entry to the store at approximately 1:30 a.m., breaking multiple display cases and making off with a substantial quantity of jewelry. The perpetrators were reported to have fled the scene on foot in an unknown direction. In a development on January 6th, police arrested a 40-year-old West Bay resident in connection with the burglary. The suspect has since been released on bail as investigations continue. However, the stolen jewelry remains unrecovered. The RCIPS reminds the public that handling stolen goods is a serious offense under the Penal Code 2024 revision. According to Section 260, individuals who knowingly receive, retain, remove, or dispose of stolen goods face up to 14 years imprisonment.
The formal opening of Grand Court for 2025 will take place this morning with Chief Justice, the Honorable Justice Margaret Ramsey Hale, and other speakers addressing the challenges and opportunities involved in the administration of justice in the Cayman Islands.
The Cayman Islands judiciary has learned that the newly opened Poinciana Rehabilitation Facility in East End will not accommodate mentally ill defendants who come before the courts, continuing the existing critical gap in the justice system's ability to handle such cases. This revelation came during today's Grand Court opening ceremony, where Chief Justice Margaret Ramsey Hale expressed significant concern about the lack of appropriate facilities for mentally ill defendants who need treatment rather than incarceration. Justice Ramsey Hale highlighted that without appropriate treatment facilities, Northwood Prison remains the only option for courts dealing with mentally ill defendants. These are persons who ought not, for good reasons which should be self-evident, to be placed within the prison, she emphasized. But without a long-term care solution for these defendants, the prison will be the only place of safety to which a court can remand someone who should actually be treated and not punished, the Chief Justice stated.
Turning to regional news out of Jamaica, where several areas are under mandatory curfew. A 72-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of Denham Town in downtown Kingston. The curfew started at 8 a.m. on Thursday, January 9th, and will end at 8 a.m. on Sunday, January 12th. During the curfew, persons are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. A 48-hour curfew that was imposed in sections of Green Island, Hanover, has been extended. The curfew runs from 6 p.m. on Thursday, January 9th, and ends at 6 p.m. on Saturday, January 11th. 4 major wildfires are ravaging Los Angeles County at an unprecedented rate, with the Palisades fire alone consuming 17,234 acres and destroying over 1,000 structures in just days. The combined fires have scorched more than 116,000 acres, spreading with shocking speed, in some areas burning an acre per second. Over 7,500 firefighters battled the blazes as calmer winds Thursday morning offered a glimmer of hope for containment. "We can turn a corner if conditions hold," said Cal Fire Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua, though warning crews remain vigilant for wind changes. The human toll continues to mount, with 5 deaths reported in the Eaton fire near Altadena. More than 362,000 homes and businesses have lost power, while thousands face mandatory evacuations. The fire's rapid spread has overwhelmed emergency resources, with crews reporting flames moving faster than engines could respond during Tuesday's 80 mph wind conditions.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, KIFA, has announced the launch of its inaugural Women's Futsal Super League, scheduled to begin in early 2025 and continue through July. Futsal, played on a smaller pitch with 5 players per side, emphasizes technical skills and quick decision-making. The sport originated in Uruguay and Brazil, where limited access to full-size fields led to the development of a game that prioritizes close ball control and spatial awareness. The introduction of the Women's Futsal Super League marks an important step for our female athletes here in the Cayman Islands, said SIFA Women's Technical Director Martha Godet. The 2025 season will feature 12 teams competing in both a home and away league format and an FA Cup knockout competition. Matches will be played primarily on weekday evenings, with some weekend fixtures possible. The league will operate under FIFA futsal laws of the game, supervised by the FIFA Competitions Department.
Thank you for tuning in to CMR's News Buzz. These headlines and more can be found on our website, caymanmileroad.com. And don't forget to follow our WhatsApp news channels for all the latest news and alerts.
Good morning, Cayman. Happy Friday. Oh yeah, honey chill. It's Friday. How are you guys doing? I love Friday just as much as I love Monday, and I love Monday just as much as I love Friday. Every day is a beautiful day to be alive. Trust and believe me. We have to be so immensely thankful because, there's a lot of people who may not have even woken up this morning, or they're waking up in a lot of pain and discomfort. So guess what? You feeling pretty good? Just say a little hallelujah this morning. Why not? I see everyone is here. Well, not everyone. Good number of you are here, pushing 200. Come on now, let's get those numbers up. Something's happening at Public Beach. I'm trying to get some details. Ambulance and police are currently on location. So as soon as we hear what's happening there, you guys know that we will bring it to you live and direct. Okay. Links have been sent out. So if you follow the WhatsApp news channel, you will have received all of that. And let's just say a collective good morning to everyone. Olivia, Jean, Wee Wee, Shen, Jen. Oh, tongue twister there, honey chow. Ooh, somebody waking up early with a phone call. Good morning, caller. Hold on. I can't even hear you, honey chow. 1 second. This phone sometimes a bit temperamental. Hello?
Hallelujah.
There you go. Hello, Mamacita. What's going on, honey chow?
Good. Hallelujah. It's a great day.
Oh, yes, it is. How you doing?
Thanks for life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So beautiful.
Giving thanks for life.
Did you get your little thingy thing?
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
Appreciate.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Top vote. Have a great day.
You too. You're in class listening. Thank you.
Very quick. I'm going on an appointment, but my radio will be with me.
Oh, beautiful. Those radios come in handy. We're going to get some more.
Ma'am. Yes.
All right, darling.
Have a great day.
You too. I'm so glad that listener has a radio because she has a sight problem. So the radio comes in particularly handy when she has to go to her appointments and so on. Oops, wrong camera. Hold on 1 second. Let's adjust that. There we go. All right, Miss Abby, good morning. Shaka Zulu's in the house. Barry Lee, hello, good morning. Nisa, good morning to you. Lala's here. Jim, good morning. Paul joining us from Bermuda. Miss Lucille joining us from the UK. Where's Stephen this morning from the UK? All right, lots of people here, and we've got a really, really important topic coming up. Good morning, Shamika. Blessed Friday to you, my darling. How you doing? So we went into lots of overtime yesterday. Oh my God, that show was almost like midday. I think, did we go over midday? Anyway, it was a long show. It was like 4 or 5 hours later, and I was looking at it going, OMG. Johan Moxham in the house. Good morning, Johan. So yeah, it was a very, very interesting show. Obviously, if you listened, you listened. If you didn't, go back. It's on YouTube and Facebook. And what can I say except you guys can see I'm so much calmer in 2025. It's a whole new vibe. It's always been there, but I'm purposely putting out the calm energy for 2025. So yeah, and sometimes calm is what you need. Not every situation requires you turning up in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes you just gotta remain calm, cool, and collected, honey chill. And yesterday was quite the learning experience because as you can see, it didn't matter. Did we go to 12:30? Oh my gosh, Shaka, wow. It didn't matter how calm, cool, and collected I remained. The situation was bound to get a little bit out of control. Yeah. So incredibly interesting. But listen, we need to talk about voter registration today. And it's really, really important if you have not yet registered to vote that you pay attention. If you're eligible, this is your opportunity. Young people in particular, we want you all. It's your country. It's your future. You got to get on this. It's easy to sit down and complain, but you got to do something about the situation. And how do you do something about it? Well, you do something about it by making sure that you are part of the potential solution, which means that you get to choose the people who run your country. So get out there, get registered to vote. We're going to be talking here in just a second with the supervisor of elections because, the process cannot be stressed enough. I took my husband last weekend. He didn't have a choice. I called him. I did my executive medical and I was on my way back up and I called him planning out the day. And I said, I just remembered what you definitely need to do today. You need to get registered to vote. And he said, okay. I mean, he's not going to fight it. And so, I called the office real quick to confirm what documents he needed, stopped by the house, grabbed, it was only 3 pieces of paper that we need: passport, status certificate, and birth certificate. And we were ready to go. And it took like 5 minutes. It was so easy. And it was easy. And, even my 8-year-old was like, can I register too? We said, not yet, honey, chat. You got a little bit longer to go. But I was so glad that she was interested in what it was that we were doing. Didn't quite understand it. She just knew that, wow, this looks pretty cool. I want to get involved. So we're going to get all the details. Jessica's asking what age. So just stay tuned, Jessica. We're going to be bringing Mr. Wesley Howell here on the program in just a second.
I've heard that many of you don't know how to register to vote or think it's too complicated. Well, we are here to tell you that it's just one application form that you can fill out online and it is fast.
It's faster than the time on your daily scroll.
It's faster than your lunch break.
Faster than your gym sesh.
First, locate your official documents. Airball knows where they are, right? Right? Next, double check your district at elections.ky under the boundaries maps. Knowing this will speed up your registration process. Now it's time to register. Complete your application form, upload your documents, and hit submit. That's it. It's just one form, and now you're registered to vote. Let's stay empowered. So come on, Cayman youth. Register today.
All right, folks. So absolutely no excuse why you should not get registered. It's online. Easy as that. Easy as pie. Easier than pie. 1, 2, 3, bam, you're done. So let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Wesley Howell this morning. Good morning, Mr. Howell. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Sandy. I am well, thanks. Happy Friday to you and your listeners, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. It's hard to believe you were here in 2024, but there we go. Time flies so quickly. So we trust that you had a wonderful Christmas with your family, and obviously already into 2025, a happy New Year as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're bringing you back because it's all about voter registration. This is your full-time task at the moment. The elections officer supervisor, you have a very, very important job going into April. So tell us what has been the response so far, because obviously we're trying to get people galvanized and encouraged to get out there and see the importance of voting. Is it the older people who are voting from what your observations have been, or registering, my apologies, to get voted this time? Or do we have some of the young people kind of trickling in little by little?
We do have some young people trickling in. I'm happy to see them come through. Some with their parents, some are doing it from their universities, they're overseas. They're doing it by email or online. We've had a really good turnout since we've been tracking the forms coming in since the last deadline, which was October 1st. We're upwards of 1,200 forms now, over 800 new applications, and then 400 and odd changes between elections, districts, and change of name, occupation, those sorts of things. So yeah, really, really solid turnout. So based on those numbers, the register of electors for April 1st, which is the one that will be used for the election, will be well over 24,500.
Fantastic. But we want everyone to register who's eligible to do so. So let's go back to the first question. Jessica wanted to know, was it Jessica? I think it was Jessica. Wanted to know about the age requirement, 17 or 18. What's the age that you can get registered?
Brilliant question. The age for voters is 18. However, the law does allow for individuals who will turn 18 on or before election day. So that's April 30th. So if you're still currently 17, but you'll be 18 before election day, you can register now. And you have to register by the deadline, which is Wednesday coming. And you would then be able to vote. But if you miss that registration deadline, you can't wait for a birthday that comes after January 15th to register, because it'll be too late at that point. So yeah, absolutely register at 17 if you're going to be 18 on or before April 30th.
All right. So Anthony asked a question, bit of a cynic there, Anthony. He says, should we still be talking about voter registration at this 11th hour? I would think that anyone that would bring any substance to the voter poll would have taken the initiative to register already. Interesting question.
I'm not going to knock anybody that's going to do it, as long as they do it before the deadline. You're only late if you miss the deadline.
Yes. So, and I mean, listen, to your point, Anthony, I think that, for different reasons, people may not have yet registered. We don't know what those reasons are. So that last minute push, I think, is always important. It's something that is done worldwide. We always see people coming out saying, hey, it's still not too late. Get registered, get registered, get registered. So, whatever it takes. The deadline is, I'm assuming it's midnight on the 15th.
Yeah, so we're at 5 days and 16 hours away from the actual deadline. So, and we're open until 7 that day in our office, but we'll be receiving emails up until midnight, and online registrations as well. So,
All right.
I wouldn't recommend anybody leave it till that, because your computer might crash. You might doze off and forget to do it. So please get it done ahead of time.
Yes. So why, there's some young people, I'm sure, who are listening thinking, why should I get registered to vote? Probably nothing is going to change in my life.
I had an interesting conversation with someone by phone the other day, and we know that there's a fact that we have more working adults, non-Caymanians in country than we have adult Caymanians. So that number has shifted because of the large number of persons who are here on work permit and otherwise. And my comment were, if the number of persons becoming Caymanian the new persons becoming Caymanian continue to register to vote, and Caymanians who are multi-generational Caymanians don't register to vote, who's going to be deciding the future of the country as it relates to matters that are important to them? So if you want to get outnumbered on the voter list as well, then don't register. But if you want to help direct where your country goes and ensure that matters that are important to you are at the forefront of the political mandate, then register and get your interest known and represented by your representative. So I mean, I can't say it any simpler than that. And that's the fact, you know.
Absolutely. No, I mean, it makes total sense. Obviously, to me, I think that it does matter. And in such a small community as Cayman as well, you know, the decisions that are made at the political level have an immediate impact on your life. It feels like an immediate trickle down. And there's lots of important issues right now that are on the table, from the National Conservation Act, obviously, you know, the environment being front of mind, policies around immigration, workforce development. There's a lot of issues that are critical to the success or failure of us as a country, as a community. And so we want to make sure that we are electing individuals who we believe have the interests of the people at heart, and who have the necessary, you know, skills and acumen to really go out there and represent us both on the local and international stage. So it's important that you participate in the process, and you won't be able to do that on April the 30th if you don't get registered to vote. So getting registered to vote, folks, is really the first step of being part of the solution and solutions for this country. So you only get one vote. Very, very critical and very, very important. So Jane says, respond to Anthony, it was critical to Biden's defeat of Trump in 2020. So there's been lots of times when we have seen young people get out there and vote, and they've shifted election results and really, really made a difference. So Shaka says, can't the elections office require the candidates to put out their manifesto by a certain deadline that corresponds with registration dates? No, is the short answer. And that's because we've not even gotten to the point where we have had the official declaration of the candidates. So just let's explain again, Mr. Howell, the process of a nomination day and what that is really all about.
No, absolutely. So the powers of the Elections Act don't actually come into play until effectively nomination day, when folks become candidates. Then they're governed by a number of rules and regulations that are within the law. They're also covered by the standards in public life aspect as well. So no, that is not something that we can force them to do. I think folks who want to encourage individuals to register and be a part of the process have already declared and sort of starting to say what some of their concerns are, some of their interests are. But yeah, we're 50 days away from Parliament being dissolved on the 1st of March. Then on the 3rd of March, we have nomination day. And then April 30th, we have the general election. So that period for us, as people are officially candidates, doesn't start until the 3rd of March.
Okay. All right, Shaka. So, and of course, the elections office does not get involved with the candidates at that level. If you look at the elections law and elements of the Constitution that, you know, relate to candidates, I think that's their legal remit in terms of what they can enforce and what they can't enforce. The fact that, Shaka, it's an interesting point, really, but the fact that we need to think like, oh, we should be forcing candidates to put out a manifesto early enough so that we can have time to review it, et cetera, I think says more about your candidates than it does about the election, the elections office. That's not their remit. That's not their job. If you're finding that candidates are coming out last minute and you don't like that, that should be one of the check marks on that report card that we're working on that you think about. Like if someone is dedicated to trying to be a leader in this country and help manage and run this country, but yet, they don't have the skills to get it together, to be able to put out their manifestos, to be able to come out early enough to have the people get to know who they are, that should make you pause and think a little bit about whether or not they get your check mark. Lala says, please discuss the importance of voting, even if you don't want to vote for anyone, e.g. abstaining, as there could be failure of elections, not a lot of people voting, and voting is such a privilege. So let's talk about this concept, Mr. Howell, of voting being a privilege, and again, why, high voter turnouts are important. What's the highest, what the highest we've ever had in terms of voter turnout?
So I've gone back to 2009, and 2009 we had 79.6% voter turnout. It increased slightly in 2013 to 79.9. 2017 was 74.1, and 2021 was 73.1. So relatively high voter turnout, and in comparison with our neighbors, significantly higher voter turnout than others.
All right, Gabby is saying that she's not going to vote until she sees an actual change, and then Lala's saying, "How are you going to see a change if you don't vote?" So it's a circular logic, Gabby. You got to think about what that means. You bring about the change, because imagine if everyone thought that way and nobody would vote. But if everyone is like, yes, we can make a change, then you are the change that you're seeking. So the change doesn't happen in a vacuum. Good morning, caller.
Morning. I have two questions, I think.
Okay.
So the first one is, who can challenge, like for instance, if I know that someone is registered in Georgetown, but they live in West Bay, can anyone challenge that, or you have to be from that district? So that's the first question. And then the second question is about mental competency, I guess. I'm trying to be politically correct, but what is there, does a person have to be of a certain mental capacity? Like if they have a mental illness, like say they're schizophrenic or something, are they able to vote? And how is that determined or measured? And if you know of a person who is registered who is not of sound mind, can you challenge that? Like, how does that work?
Good questions. Okay.
Thank you.
So the first question is about who can challenge someone on the electors list. Can anybody challenge anybody?
Your objection, which is, so once we finish this process of voter registration and we hit the deadline, we'll then be publishing the revised list of electors, which has the changes that would be coming into effect in April. At that time, we have a 21-day window for persons to review the list and submit claims if they think their information is missing or inaccurate, and objections if you believe someone is somewhere that they shouldn't be. The objections need to be made by somebody from that electoral district, but you can also bring those concerns to the attention of the registering officer, who can then make that claim, that objection against the person based on any evidence that would be presented to them to say that this person is no longer here, and those sorts of things. So yeah, an objection has to be filed by someone in the electoral district that they're objecting to, but you can also alert the registering officers for that district, who can then raise that issue with the revising officer, the chief magistrate, when the hearings are being held. The second question was around mental health and disabilities. So one of the disqualifying aspects that's in the Constitution, I think it's section 62. Can't remember off the top of my head right now. Is that persons are removed from the register under a few categories. First being individuals who have been sentenced to 12 months or more of imprisonment. Whether or not they spend the 12 months in prison or not is not a deciding factor. This is sentence itself. persons who have been absent from the jurisdiction for more than 2 years out of the last 4 years, and they aren't working for an airline or for the government or for a shipping company or going to school or away for medical reasons. Those are all reasons why they can legitimately be away for that period of time. And then persons who have been declared of unsound mind. So it's a formal declaration made by the Mental Health Commission. We get a copy of that list that they maintain, and those persons are removed once it's on there. Now, when it comes to general election day, if or mobile voting, even if an individual is not able to mark the ballot themselves and is not able to instruct the presiding officer on how they want the ballot marked, there is no voting by proxy. So if you can't communicate your desired outcome in terms of who you want your vote to go to, your family member can't instruct someone on your behalf, and they can't mark it for you. So that person then, if they're unable to mark, they're unable to instruct how the ballot should be marked, would not be able to vote because they can't express themselves from that perspective. When it comes to vision impaired, hearing impaired, we do have individuals who are able to do sign language. In the last election, 2021, we had a individual who was very keen on voting. He was hearing impaired. I'm not even sure if that's the political correct word, but he has a disability with his hearing. He had very low vision. So the only way that he could vote, we actually had to blow up a picture of the ballot paper massively, like poster board size, and he could get really close to it and pick out who he wanted and point his finger, and made it clear that that's who he wanted to vote for. But yeah, it's a very important thing that individuals have to be able to do that. And over the years, we found that when we do mobile voting, someone may well be having a very off day. They're tired, or they didn't sleep well, and they're not able to communicate. Then, the team will give them, several tries at the ballot. And if they can't do it on that day, then we'll just make a note that they were unable to vote. And I've seen persons that were in that condition on mobile voting day, and they have a burst of energy on general election day, and they come out and are able to vote on election day. So it really is a determination that's made between the returning officer and the presiding officer on that day at that time, based on how the person is presenting.
All right, very good. So hopefully that answers your question. I know that person's probably thinking, my great aunt Matilda, she kind of acts crazy. She shouldn't be voting, but that's not how it works, right? You've got to get an actual declaration. Yeah. All right. So another commenter listening to the program, this person says the following, that good morning. I emailed both of my son's registration forms and supporting documents to the email address btro@elections.ky. Attention, Miss Carrie Nixon. No response. I followed up and no response. I called the number a few times. This is on the website, and they still haven't received a response. So what should they do? Because they want to make sure that they get their kids registered.
They can call the office, the general office number at 949-8047. They can also email office@elections.ky. And I'm sure Ms. Kerry will be checking her emails as well. And
is that still a good email address that's on there, that btro@elections.ky?
Yes. So that's Bond Done Returning Officer at elections.ky is what those letters mean. Absolutely. Okay. That is our email address.
All right.
I can apologize ahead of time because the registering officers are dealing with an influx of questions and lots of registration forms and other questions generally. But yeah, we will do our best to get back to that.
Okay.
That
so should they worry if they haven't heard? How many days should they give it before?
They can call. The office will be open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. today, 10 to 5 tomorrow, and again 9 till 7 Monday to Wednesday of next week. So yeah, they should get a response today if they email office@elections.ky.
All right. Good morning, caller. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Good morning, Sandy, and good morning,
darling.
Mr. Wesley. I just, and forgive me in advance, I kind of just was able to tune in. And I was hoping that if you haven't spoken to this, if you could repeat it, I guess for my benefit and others that may have tuned in late. I've been out trying to assist persons getting registered as well. And one of the problems that I've come across, and I was hoping you could provide a remedy, is I've come across several persons who are Caymanian by way of either acknowledgement and or status. And those persons, so when we're doing the online registration, there's a section that requires them to upload their birth certificate. Now, in I think 2 instances, the person was Caymanian by way of status and had been naturalized. I had all of those documentations, but I guess because of the country that they were from, did not have easy access to getting a birth certificate. In that case, I did upload the document that I had, and I uploaded his passport, his naturalization confirmation, his the letter stamped in his passport saying that the individual was Caymanian and that he could reside basically indefinitely per section, I think 206 of I forgot the section of the law, but in instances where birth certificates are not available, so I think there's a requirement to upload a birth certificate for your either Caymanian parent or Caymanian grandparent. Those are easy to get, but in instances of the actual individual where they don't have access to their own birth certificate, is there something that can be uploaded in place of that? Because it doesn't allow you to submit if that particular upload field is blank. I will tune out and listen for you guys.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, brilliant question. And we actually have been working on a improved logic flow for the online bit. I was just really hesitant of making any changes this close to the deadline, so we actually hadn't uploaded it, but that caller did raises a brilliant observation. Birth certificates are necessary for persons, particularly persons who are multi-generational Caymanians. So the fact of the matter is that persons who are born in the Cayman Islands after 1977 are not Caymanian simply by the virtue of their birth in the Cayman Islands. You have to have a parent or grandparent who was born in Cayman or who's Caymanian in order for you to be Caymanian if you're born after 1977. So if you don't have another document that proves that you are Caymanian, i.e. a acknowledgement letter from the Department of Work, a status grant certificate, then the birth certificates are key to show that you were born in Cayman and your parent was born in Cayman, and therefore you then qualified based on that bit. So if we have proof of right to be Caymanian status, and we have the passport, we don't actually require the birth certificates at that point. And what we've been able to agree with the kind assistance of the General Registry Department is that for Caymanians who don't have their document, their birth certificate document, they have a passport, they can let us know who their Caymanian parent is. We can then request those documents from General Registry if they send in or bring in the rest of the form. So complete your form, attach your passport, driver's license, make an indication of your date of birth, your parents' date of birth, full name, those things. We can then request those from General Registry so that, especially now that we only have 5 days left, including Sunday, so we can make that happen. But yeah, the birth certificates is only required if we can't prove your Caymanian just through another document.
All right, very good. Some good questions as always for Mr. Wesley this morning. Again, if you're joining us late, he is the supervisor of elections for the next couple months. So get your voter questions in, making sure that everyone gets registered to vote. So Luis has a question. He says, if you have a voter's ID, do you have to be registered, and where do you get registered? So the only way that you should have a voter's ID is if you already have been registered at some point, right?
Agreed. No, we spoke a little bit a while ago about the disqualifications. So if you're disqualified because you were sentenced to more than 12 months imprisonment, you're removed from the register automatically because the courts do send us the list of convictions. If you're removed, you're not automatically added back on after your sentence has run its course. So you have to come back in. So some individuals may have a card that is no longer valid because it was issued when it was valid, but they've lost it because they've been to prison or they've been sentenced to 12 months or more. So I encourage individuals to do a quick lookup and search their information online. If not, the list is available, and if you want to search the list in paper, it's available at locations throughout the electoral districts, post offices, and the like. But yeah, another brilliant question. You don't need your voter ID to vote on election day. Any other ID official ID can suffice. So a driver's license, a passport. But a lot of individuals like to have that card, and we are printing them. If you're registering now for the first time, your card won't be available for you until the list becomes official on the 1st of April.
All right, very good. And you can also, check the list online, Luis. You can actually go there and put your name in there, and it's very, very easy to do that right from the elections website. Island Pearl says, how will you know that your vote was wasted if you don't try? Trial and error, just like everything else in life. We don't know for sure if who we elect will deliver until the time comes. And that's true. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that because, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. Everybody looks good as a candidate, and then you put them in there and you see what they can perform and what they can do. Anthony says, how do you get status out without a birth certificate? Well, I don't know this person's particulars, but the person did say that they were granted their Caymanian by virtue of status/naturalization. They were born in the DR and don't have access to request his birth certificate. I mean, I guess at some point he may have had the birth certificate and maybe they've lost it. So yeah, not everybody keeps track of these important documents equally the same, Anthony. So who knows? Yes.
Disasters happen. Houses get flooded.
People lose stuff.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
If you don't know how badly people lose stuff, just look on CMR for a day. They're losing everything: cats, dogs, wallets, money. The only thing they're not losing are their mortgages. So Anthony, yes, you just never know. I mean, it's always a good idea to keep these official documents somewhere safe, and also have copies of them, have certified copies that you can access. I mean, I always keep them electronically as well. All these documents for me are held in Dropbox. I've got driver's license, passports, everything, just in case I need to quickly email something off. It's easy to get to. Lala says, I'm a first-time voter. Let's give you a kaboom, honey child. Yes. Where can I see the official candidates? Is there going to be a debate like those held in the US, or a campaign rally of some sort for the candidates to lay out their platform? So, Lala, that's not really a question for Mr. Howell, but stick a pin. I'm going to save that. We will discuss that after his segment is over, because that's and congratulations, Lala. I'm so glad that you got registered to vote, but very, very good questions. And I'm going to tell you, as your self-proclaimed election headquarters, you want to tune in here, because we're going to have a lot of candidates coming on the program. We're going to have a lot of candidate information for you as well. All right, Jackie.
We will, if I just segue, Sandra, real quick, we will, once we go through the vetting process after nomination day, publish pictures and names of all candidates on our website. So a list of all the candidates by electoral districts will be on our website.
Okay.
But we won't be doing debates.
Yeah, no. And I'll tell you all about that, Lala. There will be a debate process. Okay, Jackie says, why are they asking for the parents' birth certificate if both parents are registered voters?
Again, it's just to prove that that's the actual parent. We have people with the same last names, people with the same names. We just want to be able to tie that back to the individual. We also have individuals who were registered back when we did what was called a enumeration every time that we had an election. So people would go door to door, and we would be registering people because we knew who they were. So some people are grandfathered on that we don't have any documents for, because they were on the list when, the person going door to door would know that you're so-and-so's son, and you were born here at this date, and they already know all that information. So we don't always have copies of those, but as proof in the pudding, we would require those documents.
Mm-hmm. And if someone is removed from the electors list, they're notified. How are they notified?
If they are removed because of a conviction, they're not. If they're being objected to, then they actually are served a notice that's sent out to their post office box number on file by registered mail, which is a legal requirement. And then they are advised of the date of the notice of the hearing. So they get a notice of hearing date. They can then come and represent themselves. They can even be represented by an attorney in front of the revising officer, who will hear the evidence of the objection and the reason why somebody think the objection shouldn't be upheld, and then a decision would be made. But again, check the list, make sure you're on there, make sure that your information's accurate. If not, then you can file a claim.
Right. So again, this person seems a little bit confused about why do you want proof of being a Caymanian when the acknowledgement of Caymanian certificate has been provided to the elections office? So in other words, why would you need that plus the birth certificate?
Yeah, I think they probably missed what I shared earlier, that if you have an acknowledgement letter, or if you have a status grant letter, then we don't require birth certificates of you and your parents at that point. We do not.
Okay. All right. All right. Anthony says it sounds like we're giving away citizenship to whoever knows some old Caymanian name and family history. That's not a matter for the elections office, but I can tell you that you have to prove that, and you prove it through your lineage. Sometimes even DNA tests and so forth are required. So that's more of an immigration matter. Johan saying, vote for Auntie Sandy in 2025. I can tell you guys, I'm not going anywhere. Well, vote first for again, for number one news source. That would be great. Linda says, are you going to let the illegals you've been harboring get jobs and be able to register to vote? I want my residency too. Huh? But I would have to work for 9 years instead of 3, like them to get residency. So I'm not sure, Linda, what illegals you're referring to. If you're referring to the Cuban nationals, the migrants, they're not eligible to vote. So I don't know.
I like to stress a point there, if I can. Persons who have been naturalized as British Overseas Territory citizen, who are permanent residents, they have a BOTC, British Overseas Territory citizen, Cayman Islands passport. That in and of itself does not make them Caymanian, and is not it doesn't make them eligible to register to vote. So we have had regularly we have people coming in or sending their documents saying, here's my permanent residency grant, here's my naturalization certificate, here's a copy of my Cayman passport, I'd like to register, but they're not Caymanian because they haven't completed that final aspect of applying for and receiving the right to be Caymanian and grant a Caymanian status. So permanent residents are not able to register to vote at all.
Okay. So apparently Linda was referring to another comment. Sorry, I don't see them in my chat like that, so I was confused. All right, folks. Thank you, Island Pearl, for clarifying that. Yes, Ingrid, a 20-year-old can register to vote as long as you're going to tell us again the age requirement.
Yeah, persons who are 17 now, who will be 18 on or before the 30th of April, you can register to vote in the April 30th election, but you have to register by January 15th, which is next Wednesday. So 20-year-olds, if you qualify with all the other qualifications that are necessary, yes, you can register and vote.
Okay, wonderful. So get those kids out there, Ingrid. Get them registered for sure. All right. Any other questions? 936-2626. This is your opportunity. Mr. Wesley is going to be very busy now. We're 5 days out, basically, from the deadline coming up on Wednesday, the 15th, for voter registration. There are some potential questions that might be on there if we have a referendum. So that could be another reason to vote. You might not be voting for a candidate, but maybe you want to vote on some of the referendum questions, potentially some relating to, I think, the gambling initiative. There's one about decriminalization of marijuana. And then there's also one about the port. So Gabby, maybe, those of you who are listening, you're not interested in candidates, but you're interested in those issues. that's another important reason why you should register to vote. And let's just clarify how that will work, because I know this has come up before. If I, go to the polls and I have no interest in voting for anyone, but I want to vote in the referendum, is that possible, and how will that work?
So the referendum bill has been published for public consultation. So the 28-day process is underway. If that bill is passed in the Parliament, then it will trigger the referendum questions coming on. Yes, you would be able to vote for candidates and not referendum questions. You can vote for a referendum question and not all the other referendum questions. And you can also vote for referendum and not for candidates. So any of those combinations are possible. The referendum is a advisory referendum because it is a government-initiated referendum, so it's non-binding. So the 50% plus one is not the bar to meet. It's effectively a simple majority of yeses and nos and abstentions. People that choose not to vote for it, but it's important if the matters are out there that people express their opinions on there, so that the powers that be can figure out where the national consensus is in that, or the national majority.
All right, wonderful. All right, folks. Any other questions? Now is your opportunity to do so. Any sort of final thoughts, Mr. Howell, about between now and maybe just give us the times again of when your office is going to be open. And we do have another. Oops. Thought we had another caller. All right, maybe they're still thinking about it. But what are the office hours and location?
Yeah, today we're open on from 9 until 7 p.m. Tomorrow 10 till 5 at the elections office. It's right across from the Wharf restaurant on the bottom of West Bay Road. We're open next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. You can submit your documents via email. You can submit them via the online bit. We have additional persons on to take phone calls and those sorts of things. So we're trying to do everything we can do to make it easy for folks to access the registration process. Once we close the registration, we'll be printing the list and issuing the list of revised list of voters. Encourage persons to do a search and figure out if they're on there or not, and if their information is up to date. We will also then, once we've processed that, start talking about postal ballots and mobile voting and how those happen and how you apply for those and whatnot. But for now, our focus is really on the next 5 days, which is getting everybody that wants to vote or update their information to get them to be able to do that.
All right. So this person asked the question, for students overseas, how can they vote? So let's talk about that process again if they need the postal ballot.
Yeah, so they will have the ability to request the postal ballot. We will be introducing an online application process for that as well. They would then give us their address that they're staying at. We will be dispatching the ballots to them along with instructions and all the things that they need to send back to us by commercial courier. We will prepay for the return courier back to the returning officer for each electoral district. And we will start issuing ballots as soon as the 10th of March. So 7 days after nomination day, the first ballots will go out, except for anyone who is a brand new voter that won't be a voter until 1st of April. We would have to wait until they're officially a voter, and then we can send those ballots out after the 1st of April. The deadline for postal ballots will be the 17th of April, which gives us enough time to dispatch ballots and have them come back in order to be counted. And we do have Good Friday, Easter Monday in that mix as well, right around there. So, yeah.
Okay. A few more questions trickling in. Do you need to have the documents notarized when you email them in? So if you do the online process.
Notarization is great, but it's not absolutely necessary. No.
All right. Deanna, good morning to you. Do you need to have an acknowledgement letter? in order to register?
To register, it's great if you have it, and we'll gladly accept an acknowledgement letter. But if you don't, then you can provide the other documentation that shows your connection to Cayman, and if that be through your parent, grandparent. If you're newly minted Caymanian and you don't have the generational connections, then you would need to provide a document that shows that you are Caymanian, certificate, which would be that means of showing that evidence.
All right. Another question. Morning, Sandy. Sorry if I missed it, but the January 15th deadline, is it just for registration of new voters or for those who need to make an address change as well?
Also address changes. So that is the deadline for any changes to the list that will be published on the 1st of April.
Mm-hmm. All right. Island Pearl says, understandable. There's still time to see who else will potentially pop up in your area. Continue to stay grounded. Positive change must come. So yes, indeed, folks. Mr. Stanley, we'll come to your question. That's not really one for Mr. Howell. That's more of a political question. So we'll get to some of that here this morning as well. All right. Well, thank you so much. I think we covered some good ground again this morning. The important thing now to remember is that between now and the 15th, that will be your only opportunity if you're not already registered or if you have to make any changes to get registered to vote. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. If someone is challenged, right, and they lose, so if they're registered in Georgetown but they now live in West Bay and they're challenged and they lose the challenge, how does that work? Can they not vote, or can they actually vote in the district that they live in then? Or once they're challenged and they lose, then they can't vote in that election? Like, how does that work?
Oh, I see. So this is someone who, just to clarify what the caller's asking. So say, for example, I moved and I haven't updated my information and someone says, right, she no longer lives in, Boddentown West. I'm now in Georgetown East, and somebody challenges that. Do I not get to vote at all, or how does that work?
I've seen it work both ways over the years. In that if the revising officer decides that that individual is indeed the objection is upheld in the address that they have on the register is not an address that they can be registered at legally, then they've been presented with an opportunity to update that information to where they're currently living, they're legally living, and that then would be reflected in the final register. I've also seen it where the person is struck off the register and literally has not been able to vote as well. And some people have been adamant to say, well, if I can't, I'm an ex-district person at heart, and if I can't vote there, then I don't want to vote at all. So just go ahead and take me off. So I've seen it both ways, but yeah, it's a decision that's made by the revising officer, and it's going to be done relatively late in the game because once all those dates of publication, notice for objections, hearings, all those things will be finalized in that list sort of this third week of March, which is days away from it coming into force on the 1st of April.
Very interesting. Someone is asking, can you ask why that they don't require proof of address?
So that's a very interesting one. And it does go back to the video that was shared on the show right before I came on. Proof of address, like you would do for KYC for banking purposes and others, can be a very arduous task, and is quite discouraging and difficult for individuals who don't own their own home. They don't have a lease in their name. They don't have utilities in their name. It then becomes a matter of sort of submitting documents from other people saying that you registered, that you're living at a particular address. So that would really discourage and possibly disenfranchise young people and other persons who are not sort of in a permanent or semi-permanent location. We also have persons who are quite transient, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. In that I might be staying a few nights of the week with my grandmother, and I might be staying another few nights of the week with my parents or with a friend or whoever. the last time we did a door-to-door exercise, I think we started in East End and worked our way to West Bay. And when we knocked on doors, we literally encountered the same person like 2 or 3 times, because when we were in Bontown, they were living there with friends or family, and then we picked them up somewhere in Georgetown, and then they were in West Bay as well. So long story to say that no, we don't require additional proof of address, but if you are objected to, and this is where the revised list process come in, you would have to then make a convincing argument to the revising officer as to why you should remain registered at an address that you can't prove or explain a connection to.
Yeah, and I could see how adding that layer of like proving your address could also discourage people from voting, which is not what you want to do at all. So
absolutely.
All right. So folks, the process is relatively easy. For the first time ever, I believe, online registration is now possible. You can upload your documents from the website. So please avail yourself of the options available to you, extended hours at the elections office. They've got a desk set up there where you can, the process, like I said, I went and did it on Saturday with my husband. Very, very easy and straightforward. No more than 5 minutes. We were in and out. Mr. Howell, have a fantastic weekend, and thank you so much for coming on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
You've heard that many of you don't know how to register to vote or think it's too complicated. Well, we are here to tell you that it's just one application form that you can fill out online, and it is fast.
It's faster than the time on your daily scroll.
It's faster than your lunch break.
Faster than your gym sesh.
First, locate your official documents. Everyone knows where they are, right? Right? Next, double check your district at elections.ky under the boundaries maps. Knowing this will speed up your registration process. Now it's time to register. Complete your application form, upload your documents, and hit submit. That's it. It's just one form, and now you're registered to vote. Let's stay empowered. So come on, Cayman youth. Register today.
All right, folks. Great message. Great message. How is everybody feeling? Feeling good? We're going to get registered to vote? Yes, honey child. I don't understand the hesitation. I got to tell you, sometimes it is a little bit of like a cultural element to it, because I was never registered to vote in the States. I'm not an American citizen or had the right to do so. But I can tell you that when I came back, having seen the process there and how people get, galvanized and, people are involved, there's like a level of involvement and citizenry and all that good stuff. I was involved in stuff. We went to our school. We had some representatives that went to the state capital, Tallahassee. We were advocating for stuff at the university level. And I went with some of my classmates who were American citizens, and just participating in that process and seeing how it works. And you're encouraged from a very young age to believe that you can make a difference. You get involved in your community. All of those things matter to me. So when I came back, of course, that year I came back, I think was an election year. I came back in 96. And I think it was either that year or the following year, 97. Was an election year, and I was all into it. I was like watching the debates, the whole 9 yards, and it was so interesting. So I definitely got registered to vote as quickly as I could, because I'm like, yeah, you want to be part of the process in your own country. So make sure. All right. Okay. All right. Let me see here now, honey chill. Oh, so let me answer some other questions that came in that really weren't directly for Mr. Howell, but more related to the electoral process. But those are very, very good questions nonetheless. So let me see here. All right. Okay, so give me 1 second. Let's go back to, I think it was Mr. Stanley. Good morning, sir. How are you? So he's asking if candidates will be registered as a party. So this is a good question, and the answer is some of them will be, That is certainly a matter for them as individuals. So some people are galvanizing and organizing themselves. I should tell you now that we're expecting at least one group, hopefully by next week, they're going to be ready to make their announcement. Some of them are still very much in talks with each other and figuring out, who's running where and all of those details. But it is being worked on, and I would have been hopeful that some of these parties would have already come forward and made their declarations, who they have. One of the issues that they're having, I'm going to be honest with you, Stanley, is they had a particular vision of what it would be like organizing and setting up a party, but having vision and having political experience and, how all of that sort of comes into play are two very, very different things. So there might be people who've organized a party, but they are politically green. Your results from those people, I should tell you, in all honesty, is not going to be any different than it was for the independents who are politically green. This is why I say to people, it's not so much about the party as it is about the individual candidates. Because even if you have a party, but you have lackluster individual candidates who bring nothing to the table, you're going to have problems. So we've seen, for example, yes, the PPM is up until a few weeks ago, they were the only current registered party, I believe, that we still had. Now we've had another one, and I'll tell you a little bit about that here in a second, Stanley. But, even them, they are struggling to find viable candidates. We've seen them come forward with some candidates that have a history of behavior that you wouldn't vote for them if probably they were the only person running. Like yeah, so if they're not vetting candidates properly, and this is where I feel like this is the job here of us on this platform, self-proclaimed Cayman Elections headquarters, we're going to help you to do that job up to a certain point. And you have to help yourself. So I do want to make it really critically important to advise you that at this point in time, we will have some people who will be coming forward and, they're going to say all sorts of amazing things about themselves. And you have to ultimately decide whether or not that person is what you're looking for. Yeah. So the report card, we're going to hopefully have that in place by next week to discuss that further. I am hopeful that that will help you make the relevant determination of exactly what it is in your mind makes a good person, makes a good candidate for election. Something to think about for sure. All right. So the short answer is the elections office doesn't really get involved in that. They do register. There is an actual registration process per the Constitution and how electoral parties should get registered and the law itself. But yes, So let me tell you about, these parties should be telling you about themselves. It shouldn't be my job to even tell you what parties have been registered, but I'm taking it upon myself to do so nonetheless. We do have a new party that is the, hold on now, let me try and get the name right. It is the Cayman Islands. Oh, Lord. Hold on, Mr. Stanley. What are they called again? It's CNP, Cayman Islands National Party. And my understanding is that they have actually formally registered their party. There will be others. I don't know if they have done so as yet. And if they haven't, it's probably going to be happening within days. Let me try to ask the question. Let me see. Yeah, but there will be others that will be registered. Now, again, I want you to keep in mind that we've had other parties register, and it's like they were kind of the non-party, if you ask me. Party of geriatrics that never got off the ground. So they registered, they did all the formalities, they had a press launch and all these, this is what we're going to be doing. We're like, yeah, okay. And then nothing happened. They didn't put forward a single candidate either for that particular election. So keep your eye on the ball, folks. Keep your eye on the ball. Inspiring says, I love the Caymanian accent in the video. Finally. Yes, darling. Yes, honey, chill. Lucky Body says, who is Jordan Drivers and why is he running? What do you mean Jordan Drivers? Who's Jordan Drivers? Oh, you mean Jordan Rivers? Oh my goodness. I'm looking at this going, Drivers? Who the hell is Jordan Drivers? Jordan Rivers. Well, listen, again, the candidates need to come forward and tell you who they are. I think Jordan is a regular listener to the program, but he's running with a team, I understand. And that team, well, we don't know when they're going to come out and introduce their candidates. I would suggest they do so sooner rather than later, but I'm not their PR person. I'm not their marketing person. So once again, that really isn't my job. Okay, then. Let me see here now. But where and why is he running? Well, I can't tell you why he's running, but I can tell you where he's running. He is running in North. So that would be Bernie Bush, is West Bay North, Bernie Bush, and Mr. Bernie Bush and Ralston, England. So Ralston has thrown his hat back in the ring. Someone was asking, was it Deanna? Oh, no, yes. Who's running for Georgetown East? So I did have, sometimes it's hard for me on the fly to remember who's where and what. And So I did ask my team the other day, I'm like, can somebody just put together a quick list for me? Because if I can remember who's there now with the respective constituency, then I can kind of give you an idea of who's actually running and so forth. So big shout out to the CMR team. They did send that to me on, I think it was last week, Friday, we were talking about this. Oh no, it was Tuesday. And so let me see, you said Georgetown East. Okay, so Georgetown East is where Roy McTaggart currently is. And so Georgetown East, we have, I don't know that these people have formally said this yet, but I'm going to tell you what the Mall Road is saying so that you can, you can almost take it to the bank. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. I'm going to tell you something about when I say certain things, the way I say it is important. So we know that Teresa Pitcairn is going to be running in that area. I've got that in good authority. And when? And then we have Emily Ducou, I think is her last name. She is yeah, this person's got that news wrong. So she is also running, and then that would be Roy McTaggart. So those are the three names I've heard in that area. Oh, wait a minute. North, does anybody, that other group, do they have anybody in North? I don't kind of think so, So far, I think those are the three names that I've heard. Oscar Bodden. Who the hell is Oscar Bodden? Who's Oscar Bodden? I don't know who's that? Who's he running with? Lord have mercy. Bad if I don't know who he is. That now is $1 million question in terms of, Oscar Bodden is John's friend. So is he running with John's friend? So who's he running with? Because John aligning himself with the progressives. There is a big question mark about who's going to run against John. We should talk about that. Because nobody should go uncontested, but apparently everybody seems to be running from John. Y'all think that this man is so solid. I can't. Somebody said to me last night, was Sandy, you should run against him. I'm like, y'all are crazy. I mean, not that I wouldn't accept the challenge and take him, but I don't want the job. So that's a problem. I don't want to be an elected official. I'm just happy where I am and I get so much done. But I am shocked and surprised that y'all seem to be scared of John. The dumbest person, excuse my language, but today, Friday, And just because I'm being cool, calm, and collected does not mean I still not gonna tell you all the truth. The dumbest person in Parliament, seriously, y'all running from like puss running from dog. I'm like, Jesus, help me make this make sense. These don't make no sense. How did we get here? He's the very definition of garrison politics, y'all. No, sir. Come on out. Who do we think could take him? Do y'all think Chucky could take him? Listen, Chucky, where you at, honey child? Charles Clifford, let me see you. Ay. Mr. Stanley, you're welcome. He says, I'm aware that some candidates haven't a clue what they're doing, what they're going into Parliament to do. They're clueless to the issues in the country. Well, not only that, Mr. Stanley, but some people may know the issues because, I mean, we do talk about, we do talk about them enough, so I think most people probably know what the issues are. But it's more than just knowing the issues. It's you know, like, what are you going to bring in terms of solutions, not sound bites. The king of sound bites is Chris Saunders. That's all he's got is a good sound bite. And yet no solutions. He didn't do much of anything when he was in there. Talked and sends out these little messages on WhatsApp, but no substance to it at all. And that's unfortunate because he's a bright young man, but something else kind of skipping a beat there. Let me just see here. All right. Good morning, Jose. How are you? Bien. Thank you so much. So the quality of the candidates really becomes a critical situation now as we get ever so closer. This person says, look here, Linda, them people in Bordentown East only vote for fools. That's why people haven't even bothered to run against John. You see, I don't believe that. I can't. My father used to live in Bordentown East. He's right there before he passed away. He's right there in the water. I can't say that them Bordentown East people are fool like that. I believe in them. I believe they're smart people living in Bordentown East, despite the fact that they got joke in there. Come on, Bordentown East, prove me right and prove them wrong. Show that you got more sense than John. But yes, I mean, I think he, they said this person says the fools outnumber the smart people. You know this. Lord Jesus. Oh, I can't even. Lucky Body says Bordentown East keeps voting for him, even though we've gotten nothing over the past 15 years besides a turkey and a ham. And he throws parties, apparently. That's what gets them going, is he likes to throw a little party, give them some free drinks. And were you in Mandora from West Bay? What were you in Mandora from West Bay was running? Were you in, who's Mandora? Oh, were you in Cayman? Oh, Tartarian, put a little comma there. Were you in Cayman when Dora from West Bay? Who's Dora? I don't know who Dora is. Lord have mercy if Mall Road was around back then. Oh gosh. That sounds like a good story. All right, let's talk about something here. So this person says the reason that John knows he has it in the bag is because most of Bordentown East are Jamaican/Caymanians, and he knows how to keep them happy. Throw them a concert or buy them some turkeys or a stove, a fridge, etc. I mean, the people got to do better than that, because then the next 4 years, what do they get from John? This man does not even show up. To, like, I remember when I went to the Nurse Josie Center in the Mission House and stuff like that, they had an opening. This man does not even show up to stuff that's happening right in his little miniature district. He not business with nothing. And I'm thinking, how on earth do y'all keep voting this man in? And then after I said something about it, he quick time contacted Miss Mary Lawrence and ran and made an appointment to go there. I mean, Caymanians, I'm begging y'all to please, let's up the ante in who we're electing to public office. I mean, good grief. Oh, it's ridiculous. The bar is just too low. And this man has said, yes, the bar is low. And he sets it low on purpose. Because then anything he does, he's like, oh, if I set it low, anything I do is then like amazing. And I'm thinking, Lord, y'all can't be serious. Let me see. Is this the clip where he said that? I actually have a clip from, I need to organize my clips because he actually said that. He was like, oh yeah, I set the bar low so that when I do something, y'all be like so excited that I've actually done something. And I'm thinking, no, sir. This man crashing his government car, getting away with it, all sorts of questions about the Vaseline in the vehicle. Y'all just ignoring too much with John. I'm sorry, but I just can't take the foolishness. No. That not gonna work. Okay. So we were talking about, I think it might have been Friday or Monday. Anyway, we were talking about some rumors around Cayman Brac and what is happening on the Brac in terms of who is running there. And one of the things that came up, which is very, very interesting, is something with Mr. Sam Rose. Now, Mr. Samuel Rose, he's cabinet secretary. Apparently, I guess he heard it and he got all up in his feelings. That day, the government sent out a press statement saying, oh, no. This is not true. This is unequivocally true. He's not going to be taking the job of, what was the rumor again? The job of deputy commissioner. Now, let me be clear, because I couldn't believe that they actually wasted government time and energy even responding to that, to be honest. The things that they need to be responding to, they're not responding to. So to me, I was kind of like, that's interesting. But nonetheless, I found it very, very interesting that all of a sudden they jumped up and responded to this. Okay, honey child. Here's the thing. Remember that little bit when I said, I'm selling it to you like how I got it. I got it really, really cheap, and I'm selling it to you really, really cheap. You know what that means? That means, pay attention now, all of you civil servants and elected officials and wannabe elected officials. That means that in the hierarchy of information, that is at the bottom of the totem pole. That is a straight up rumor, speculation. Okay? We were not saying that's a fact. So don't waste government resources even responding to that. Y'all have a lot more important things that you should be doing and that you should be focused on. I'm just saying. Okay, honey child. All right, everybody crystal clear? Like seriously. So they sent out one big press statement. I don't think anybody in the media covered it except for Alric, but I'm just like, and in it, they're like, oh, there's speculation. Why are you wasting your time talking about speculation? Yeah, don't bother. And I think we made it pretty clear that it was straight up speculation. All right, honey child. I'm not even gonna, I had the clip that I was gonna play and remind everybody of what I actually said, but I can't even be bothered because y'all just not paying attention. Speculation. And, I had a good little laugh. And somebody even said, nah, that can't be true because that's a step down for him. That's actually a demotion. And I thought about it and said, yeah, that's kind of true, I think. So, it is what it is. All right. All righty, let me see here now. Okay. A GIF. Oh, I see. All righty. All right, 936-2626 is the telephone number. Let's keep it going. Good morning, Miss Sonia. How are you? Who's running for Georgetown South? All right, so let me see now. Georgetown South. District commissioner, not deputy commissioner. My apologies. Yes, district commissioner. John still doesn't go to work out of his office at government, and he is a minister. I mean, the man doesn't work. Bordentown East, please. If it helps, can I put Zeus in there to run? I mean, he's not eligible. I mean, he's Caymanian, but he's not a human. I would say vote for him. At least he's not gonna do no harm. He's not gonna get much done because that dog is so lazy and laid back. Y'all would be shocked to see how much he enjoys life around here. That dog can sleep more than anything I've ever seen. I was saying to my husband the other day, I said, maybe this dog has some kind of, but he gets active at night. It's at nighttime that I gotta show y'all some pictures. It's at nighttime that he be wanting to run around like he got something to do when everybody else is trying to go to bed. We're like, listen, this is not the time for you to be finding your energy, son. He be napping all day and living his best life. But yet he would do no harm in public office. At least he's not gonna be taking out work permits for foreigners. We know that much. And we know that he's not gonna be not paying them and abusing them either. So let me show y'all some pictures of him. He is so cute though. But I'm gonna show you how laid back he is. He likes to nap. He would be sleeping on the job, but at least I think it would be fair to say that we could bring him to the office and he would show up. He mightn't get much done, but at least he'd be there. So let me see here now. Let me see some good pictures of Zeus. Child, he's always snoozing. Oh yeah. This is what he does. And the second you get on that sofa, honey child, and you put up the leg rest. You put up the leg rest, it's like he jumps up there right away. He's like, oh yeah, now we can relax. Let me see here now. Trying to find a good picture of Zeus. Most of the pictures of him are him snoozing. Oh yes, here's one on the pickleball court. Let me show y'all this. Oh, he is cute though. I gotta tell y'all, he could get the cutest MP award, if nothing else. How about that? That's better than what y'all got in there now. I'm just saying. Thomas says, play it, please. All right, let me find the link. Hold on, if you really insist. Okay, so let me have a Zeus moment. Just indulge me. He is so adorable. Oh my gosh, look at him. Elect Zeus for Bordentown East. Hold on, honey child. He loves to hang out at the pickleball court when we're playing because then he likes to try to steal my balls. And I'm like, no, that one's not yours. He steals Gigi's toys too. All right, here we go. Hold on. Let me take out, I need to delete some other pictures here so we can add this one. Okay, hold on, honey chill. All right, so, all right, here we go. Elect Zeus to public office of Bordentown East. All right, chilling at the pickleball court. I mean, look at that face. Can you argue with me that he is so cute? Like, seriously? Snoozing 2 seconds later. He's like, oh, I got a good spot on somebody's leg. Why not? And there he is. Aw, so adorable. All right, I think we got one more. One more snooze fest video or picture. Look, that's all he wants to do. Once you put up your legs and you put up a chair, he's coming running, honey child. He's like, yes. And you can see his little, eyes when they be like, they be getting heavy. And I'm like, dude, how are you sleepy again? Come on, Bordentown East, get it together. This person says, good morning. Zeus has my vote. He's still smarter than Fool John. All right, so let me see. We're looking for dog that is out there. on the loose. We're trying to help find this little puppy. Mhm. All right, we got a rescue group. Good morning, honey child. This person says, but Zeus is not going to get a DUI or have any Vaseline in the car. You better believe that. Heated donkey, parliament, jester, representative, shaking my head. Oh, what? Oh. Mm-hmm. What a mess. Yes, that's true. Like I said, Zeus is he's not gonna be no harm to nobody. Sandy, run against him, laughing out loud, 4K man. Oh, I can't. It's just not. I mean, what do I say? Do it for your country. But what I do is for my country. And I do such a good job right where I am. My God. And I'm still not convinced that the people would still make the right choice. That's the problem. I couldn't. But I'll help anybody else who wants to. So can somebody else with sense, please come forward. Lala says, I like your lipstick today. Shout out to my mama and papa visiting Cayman. Lala, you mentioned earlier that you're a first-time voter. Where can I see the official candidates? Is there going to be a debate? So let me give you this information. I meant to answer this, so thank you so much. The Chamber, Cayman Island Chamber of Commerce, has a debate every election year. Now, they've done that for quite some time actually, and they will be doing it again. And we will carry it right here, okay? Yes. So we will be carrying it. Normally it happens in the evenings. And of course, as soon as we have the debate schedule set, I will advise you guys of the dates and times and all of that so that you will be ready. Okay. So, yes. So once you're ready, we will ensure that, or once they're ready, I should say, we will ensure that all of the details are made available to you. And here's the thing now that you got to pay attention to, Lala. Not every person participates in the debates. It is up to them. Just like when the youth forum had their debate, I think a lot of people might not have been aware of the youth forum debate. Unfortunately, somehow we missed that message. They did say that they had messaged us, but I didn't see it. And in fact, I'm still searching to see which, email hole it went into. But yes, at the end of the day, the candidates themselves will make a determination of whether or not they wish to, participate in that process. It's completely up to them. And if they don't participate, I think that should also say a lot to you. For example, with the youth debate, there were some people who were there who have expressed an interest and, that they're going to run for political office, and they were sitting in the audience. And when I heard this, I thought to myself, why are you sitting in the audience? This is a participatory sport. You have said you're going to run for public office. You're behind, better get up and do something. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. I see that this morning you're on a few general topics, but a little bit more on politics. I thought I should give you a shout on a call on one issue. Now, this issue, you might have more perspective on it than me because you've got I think it is a master's degree in public administration.
Yes.
Yes, so you might have a wider perspective on. But basically, the story is this. It has to do with FOI. I saw the AG some time back. He hired a KC to conduct the case. After the case, I made an FOI request requesting the record of the terms of engagement of the outside KC, including how much was paid to him. The AG said there were no written terms of engagement and nothing was paid to the outside KC. Now, I know that the KC did the job because I appeared and I argued against him in court. Now, in my view, this is just my opinion and I'm entitled to it. I think the AG was lying. So I appealed it to the ombudsman, but she said that since no record was created, she could not do anything, since her power is to order production of an existing record. So what do? So I filed a complaint with the ombudsman to say, okay, if the AG never created the record, this is the maladministration, which is within her jurisdiction. Since all public agencies, under the law, Public Records Act, they are supposed to create records. Now, what has happened since then, and this is now the punchline of this whole thing, when the ombudsman contacted the Attorney General and said, I want to investigate why you didn't create a record and the Attorney General says, no, you have no jurisdiction to investigate the matter. Now, I have not been told yet the basis on which the AG is objecting. But to settle the matter, the ombudsman has now decided that she will take this matter to the Grand Court. She has the power under the Act to do that. She will take the matter to the Grand Court to decide if the ombudsman has power to investigate such a matter, which is a failure to create a record. Now, this, of course, is very important because if the Attorney General succeeds in excluding the jurisdiction of the ombudsman, then it means that all that public authorities need to do is when they transact business, they don't create records. And therefore, when you as the press, when Parliament, or all these bodies that try to hold government accountable, then they've got nothing to work with. So this is, so just watch out for that. I imagine that once she does that, once she takes it to the Grand Court, I imagine she will make some information available. And I just think that it's very, very important. People need to know about this.
Yes. Well, thank you. No, thank you so much. And also thank you for always challenging the system, because these are things that we would not know otherwise if you didn't. In a sensible way, you know, because I've heard of people trying to circumvent the FOI process by not keeping records. And in fact, I've brought that up on this program before. For example, the Port Authority Board, I have heard, you know, people tell me things that there'll be board members who will say, don't record that. They'll tell the secretary, don't put that in the minutes. Don't record that. And if it's not recorded, if these minutes are requested, then there is no record of it. And they can just pretend that it was never said and it never happened. That's ridiculous. Yeah. I think that all board meetings should be recorded. And I mean, when I say recorded, I'm not talking about by a person who can decide what to put in, what not to put in. They should be recorded in a way that reflects the full transcript of what transpired. If you are a board member and there are things that you can't say that you want on record, then you shouldn't be saying them during a board meeting. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, precisely. This is, you see, and the law on this is very clear. I didn't want to get into too much of the detail, but it's actually Section 6 of the Public Records and the National Archives and Public Records Act. It says every public agency must keep a record of its affairs, and then it has even penalties to say that if you fail to keep that record, that can be considered by the attorney, by any disciplinary authority as a disciplinary matter. In fact, Franz Manderson, or rather, no, it was actually in the time of Chief Secretary McCarthy. There is a circular which I'm using as part of my argument. There's a circular, detailed circular that was issued by the Chief Secretary's office, citing all these laws, you know, FOI, public records laws, and related laws, to say, look, there is no point in having FOI to request records if you are not creating records. And then this circular is about like 3 or 4 pages long. And it will be very, very important, I think, for the Grand Court to come out and say very, very clearly what the obligations are. Because what I'm expecting to do, what I'm hoping to do, is that the Attorney General will also be found guilty of maladministration. Remember, this will be like the third judicial and legal service institution to be found guilty of maladministration, because first it was the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, and second it was the judiciary. So this one will possibly be the third one. But I hope that whatever the result of this is, will not just benefit, but the community will benefit as well.
Absolutely.
Do you have 1 minute for me to touch a little on what we talked about yesterday with that lady?
Yes, I was going to thank you actually for, coming on and being willing to try to explain certain things to her. Unfortunately, she was not receptive to it. And so that's the old adage, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink, sort of thing, right? But yes, what are your thoughts today?
Yeah, well, first thing, I always empathize with people like that, because usually it helps if you can get legal advice. But then I know that legal advice is not always easy to come by. So maybe I'm not even quite sure she was ready to listen to it anyway, because even what she got from you, from Dr. Steve and me.
We were all saying the same thing, essentially.
Exactly.
And she's
exactly the same thing.
Yeah, somehow she concluded in the end, and she was arguing with me about what it was that you actually said to her. And so she thought that you had taken a different position that was favorable to her. And I suppose as an attorney, you yourself have probably been in this predicament where you're saying one thing to your client and they're simply not listening to you. And that could be that they're just not understanding it, or that they simply don't want to hear it. And those are two different things, right?
Those are two different things. You see, if I had sort of taken an approach of cross-examining her, I would have caught her in a lie. But because I was not in that mode, for example, when I said, was this letter read out loud? Now, if I was cross-examining her, I wouldn't have said that. I would have said something like, so when he gave it to you, what did he say? And then she would have said, well, he said nothing. He gave me the letter, and then I walked away. Then if I had sort of cornered her into that, then she wasn't going to say, oh, but he read it aloud, because then, that avenue would have been closed. But let me touch, the thing I was going to touch, though, is about the default judgment. She said that she filed the default judgment. Again, the problem with the issue was that every time you ask a question, did he say it loud? And then she would say yes, but you are saying that so late in the story, as you pointed out to her. And then when I said, well, but you have to file 2 forms. Oh, yes, I did file the form. So at that point, you are not very sure. But talking about default judgment, I've had a problem with a default judgment. 3 years ago, I had a default judgment which we tried to file. The authorities there refused to receive it. Again, I wound up with the ombudsman. And then the ombudsman said, you haven't told this person why you haven't received these papers, which are valid. At that time, they made the excuse, which was that, well, you see, because during COVID, the front office staff didn't understand that we were receiving both electronic as well as physical copies. You presented a physical copy. And so they gave a whole kind of, it's a cockamamie story, basically. But ultimately, they admitted in a written document sent to me that they should have received my documents. But the only reason they didn't receive the document was misunderstanding. But the real reason they didn't receive the document was because it was a default judgment against the Attorney General and the judge I was suing. And they admitted that they consulted the Chief Justice, who said, don't receive it. So there could be a problem that when you are getting a default judgment against a very powerful person, they are not ready to give it to you. I don't know what the facts are in her case. Maybe the papers were not in order, or maybe they were in order, but because it was against the Attorney General, I don't know that. But at the end of the day, I think her problem is that she needs somebody who can sit down, give her proper legal advice, and she should not fight fights which she doesn't need to fight. Oh, by the way, the other thing about it is that even all those things we talked about yesterday, we talked about, that if you go to the police, if you that is protected reporting to the police and so on. But at the end of the day, you have to look at what was said. Was it true? what if the person who said them can say, yes, I can prove this, I've got video to show that it's true. So all these other things then become totally useless, because then, as you know very well, that is what is called justification in law. You have said something that you can prove.
Yes.
Anyway, I just thought, well, let me give you a little bit of a supplementary talk about that. I really appreciate. By the way, I will send you the case, the Canadian case, which protects police reports. There's about a page and a half. I'll send you that too.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Take care, Sandy. Bye-bye.
All righty. And as Denny Warren Jr. pointed out yesterday, he made a very good point when he said that, we touched on so many different elements of the legal system. I have a couple degrees, and the one thing that I would say of all the degrees that I have, and I do have a master's in public administration, the one that I think is probably the most useful, and I wish everybody could get one, is actually, I'm kind of torn between the writing degree and the law degree, but I'm going to go with the law degree. And the reason why I say a law degree is because the law touches every element of your life from the second that you are born, and even before you're born sometimes, because they're, in vitro fertilization and eggs and who owns the egg. And, so technically even before a person is born, but you become a legal entity once you are born. The law intersects with every aspect of your life. And so that's important. Everything that you do, there's employment law, there is, wills and even after you've died, the law deals with your estate and stuff after you've passed away. There's trust law. There is consumer law and legislation. There's stuff that, our elected officials put in place that, sometimes you've got to think about. So the law is critical. And I get that not everybody obviously is going to want a law degree. Not everyone is going to have the capacity to get a law degree. And that's why you've got lawyers who are dedicated to their profession, who are there to advise you and to help you. But some things that might appear to be common sense from the perspective of someone who has some legal training, such as myself, a lot of times I appreciate, and this is why, I try to take my time with people. Just because you don't understand something when it comes to the law doesn't mean that you don't have common sense or that you're stupid. The law can be at times a little bit tricky. And so, we have to navigate that. But when you have a situation like yesterday, where you have multiple people giving you really good salient advice, and they are saying, listen, this is the position as it relates to private property, because yesterday it was like private property rights, trespassing, then some questions around defamation, slander, libel, it just, and her story wasn't believable, to be quite frank and honest. It wasn't believable, as Mr. Belika said, and I pointed this out yesterday. There were things that she was claiming only once he specifically put the idea in her head. So she never said before, right? She kept saying, oh, he did this in public. And it's like, okay, doing something, handing you a letter in public doesn't mean anything. Someone pointed out in the comment section, what if that was a gift certificate? Exactly. Nobody knows what he gave you. And the funny thing is, I'm going to tell you all something about publication here in a second that we'll talk about. But yeah, so there is this question of, her story just kept shifting. And if she was standing before a judge or a juror, they would not believe her. That's one of the things that people look at. Why does your story keep changing? That doesn't make any sense. If that had happened from the onset, surely that would have been something important that you would have said early on. You would not have waited until somebody else planted the idea in your mind and said, oh, well, did he actually read the letter? Oh, yes, he did read the letter. No, he didn't, because you never said he read the letter. Had he read the letter, you would have made that point. And for the benefit of our radio listeners, some of you are like, what the heck is Sandy talking about? We didn't hear this on the radio yesterday. Lovell Marriott, we got her on the phone and we had a conversation with her yesterday about what transpired with her and Mr. Woody Foster. And listen, legally, Mr. Woody Foster is completely in the right position. There's no two ways about that. There's nothing that she said that could convince us otherwise, but she has a fundamental misunderstanding of her rights to someone else's private property. And I was very, very shocked by that. And a lot of you might be, because someone said, but Miss Sandy, define what a public space and a private space is. So a lot of you think, and I've seen this before, I've had people, when I had my retail space, they come in like, oh, this is public space. No, it's not. That person owns that space. They're either leasing it or paying rent for it. And if they ask you to leave or instruct you to leave, then you have to leave, right? So you don't get to dictate. They open it by invitation in law is what it's called. They open it to the public. So they invite you to come there and do grocery shopping from 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. And that's why, they state rules at the top of the, at the front of the store. They don't want any soliciting. They don't want this. They don't want that. Now, somehow in her mind, because she was soliciting for what she thought or what she claims is a nonprofit organization, she thought that somehow that made it okay. It doesn't matter what your solicitation is for. If a company has a no solicitation policy, then it is what it is. And in fact, I think for Foster's grocery store over the years, they've had to implement that because they've had issues. But, there are times when you'll see they give people permission, but you ask for permission first. You don't do the thing. And then how does that saying go? You commit the sin and then ask for forgiveness or whatever. That's not how this works. So if she wanted to do what she was doing, which she claims was collecting food for Cuban, I don't know, that she was going to send to Cuba. So it weren't even the migrants here, which is a bit weird. But what you would then do is you would go and ask Mr. Woody first. You don't do it. And then when his staff complain about it and customers complain about it and people have a problem with it, then you're like, well, you can't tell me that I can't come to your store. That's not how the process works, honey child. And when Mr. Woody said, okay, enough is enough, you saw her attitude. I mean, Lucky Body says that she has delusions. Without a doubt, I do question her mental, and I some of it is she just doesn't understand certain things. And when she doesn't get her way, she's going to act out. That's not, as far as I know, a diagnosed mental problem. That is narcissism, which I guess maybe I don't know how professionals are diagnosing that these days. But I will tell you, without fear of contradiction, that is her biggest issue. When she doesn't get the attention that she wants or people don't agree with her or whatever, you saw how it escalated. And so I was very, very calm yesterday, and I purposely was calm. Because she wasn't going to, I could have popped off on her in any minute. And then you'll go, oh, Sandy agitated her bad spirits. I was not going to agitate anybody's spirits yesterday. I was just here calm as a cucumber, right? Because I wanted to see, even in that circumstance, because she always wants to play the victim. Oh, somebody doing something to her, that's what escalates her. Nobody escalated her yesterday but her. When she didn't get what she want, all of a sudden she started calling down hell and damnation. It's also a bit of a, what do we call it? Not reflective, but it's like, what's the right word that I'm looking for? When you're focused on this, like, okay, you're focused on, she's actually wrong. And she's gotten it wrong. And, that's when she starts to escalate because she doesn't want you to focus on that. Deflecting, I think is the word I'm looking for. It's a deflection tactic, right? So you notice when her behavior started to go a little bit wild and crazy, right? It was very, very orchestrated. Lovell, if you're wrong, you're wrong. There's no two ways about it. You're wrong. So you just need to accept that you're wrong. And to prove that she wasn't wrong, she would latch on to any little piece. Well, that's not what he said. And I'm like, are we hearing the same conversations? Mr. Balika made it very, very clear that he didn't believe that this man would come and bring this letter and read it to you. And I mean, who even does that? Right? And so, well, there's video. Okay, video. This happened in November. I doubt that video is still available. And if you claim, like if you're going to sue them and that's what you claim, you're the one who has to bring the video forward. You can't go to court and tell the judge that, oh, there's video of this happening. And Woody Foster, who's going to be defending himself with his lawyers, they're the ones who must show a video proving your case. That doesn't even make any sense. It's completely illogical. And the vast majority, there's a few legal exceptions, but in the vast majority of cases, there's a theory, a policy in law that he who brings the case must prove the case, right? In defamation, you bring the case of defamation, you've got to prove that you were defamed. You've got to prove that the elements to for that, it is actually still a criminal offense in Cayman, but in the civil sense, the tort, you have to prove the elements of it. And the absolute defense for defamation is the truth. So you can't be lying that somebody said something about you or did something and it really isn't, that's not even what happened, right? So she's also confused. It seems that they have to give her a reason why they don't want her in the store. Even if technically they got the reason wrong, that's not defamation. Someone can't defame you to yourself. I mean, this is a very interesting point, right? So if someone comes to you, this is about the rules of defamation and publication and whatever. If someone walks up to me and says, Sandy, you're a thief, and they said it to me and nobody else, right? They can't defame me to myself. Right? It has to be published. It has to be said or presented in a way that third persons would have access to it or would have heard it, et cetera, et cetera. And it even matters how large the body of people are that may have heard it. So she claims, oh, the store was full of people, hundreds of people. Okay. Well, say 199 of those people were going about their business and not paying Lovell one bit of mind, which is probably the case, right? Only one person would have heard it. She claims some Indian people were around her. So one or two people heard it and that was it. That's not going to be no $1 million case, even if you could prove all the other elements, which would be unlikely, right? If it's widely published. Now, here's what's even more interesting. She actually went on her own page, and I don't know, let me see how many followers or friends or whatever she has. She went on her own page and she actually shared the video herself of what transpired with the accusations and whatever. That's what I told her. I didn't know anything about, she assumed, but I know everything and I knew what she was doing at Cuba. Well, please, nobody don't know what the hell you got going on. So, she went on her own page and put up a public post about it, shared what was allegedly said, shared the whole mix-up story, and blah, blah, blah. Okay? So when she did that, she is publishing what she claims is defamatory stuff about herself. And how many friends she got? I don't know how many friends she has. It says she has 32 mutual friends. Does it say how many in total? Anyway, she got a couple, but whatever. So you can't self-publish something and then claim that it's defamatory. What are you doing? You're defaming yourself? Like, again, it just doesn't make any sense. She doesn't understand the law. And as someone who is constantly trying to sue people, at some point, the court might even step in and say, listen, you're wasting court resources. You're being frivolous and disruptive. And I don't know that they can stop her from suing. This is probably a question I should have asked Mr. Balika. But they are going to be very likely to throw things out very, very quickly in light of the fact that it's vexatious is what they call it in law. In other words, there's no merit to it and you're just constantly suing people. And that's one of the grounds in which you can actually get a lawsuit dismissed and thrown out. And so she has sued the police commissioner, I think, twice now in recent times. And so she sued him in April. And then she sued the Chief Justice in October. She was actually found guilty in February, but she got a conditional discharge. And then in January of last year, she sued both CUC and the government. She sued the Department of Environment, claiming $10,000 for damages suffered to her because she claims a neighbor is allowed to run a generator. And then she sued the commissioner again in November of 2023. She got in trouble in August of 2023 for taking photos during a trial because you're not allowed to do that. So, Lovell is kind of all over the place. She's a menace to society, if I'm going to be quite frank and honest, okay? And, I'm not saying that none of her none of her, complaints have any merit to them. Frivolous and vexatious. That's a legal term. But what I would say is she's going to be taken less and less serious when she continues to engage in this type of frivolous and vexatious behavior. When you're going to sit here and not even listen. Mr. Macfield, who's in his 80s, has at least 60 years of legal experience and training, right? Well versed in the law. You saw when I put to her, which lawyer? Of course, she already went into it saying, oh, well, I don't trust lawyers. And when they hear the Foster name, they're automatically going to take his side. I said, no, we don't have to mention any names. We can put forward a scenario, and this is how you do it in law. When you take your legal exam, they're like, okay, this is a scenario. These are probably based on true facts in life. Now work out the legal advice that you would give your client. Work out the things that you need to be looking at, the legal principles that might apply here. What decisions would dictate how this case could, be resolved in the end if a judge had to look at it or whatever. That's how it works. So we don't need to know who the parties are to give you legal advice, to be honest. So she came into it assuming that, somebody's mind would be tainted because, it's Woody Foster. And again, her trying to play the victim. So I said, okay, we don't have to mention anybody's name. I picked someone that she said, yes, she had faith in. She believed that, Mr. Macfield would give good salient advice because, he's a smart lawyer. He knows what he's doing, until he did not agree with her. And this is where the narcissism comes in. So you're okay until he says, nope, you're wrong. Whoever this person is, because he didn't even know it was her until she started talking and whatever. But he's like, whoever this person is, they have it wrong. You are a trespasser on that property. And there will be consequences for you trespassing, because trespassing is a criminal offense. And that's why Mr. Woody said he wants to press charges. And it's unfortunate, but from November to now, she admitted to trespassing. And I don't know if she realized what she was doing, but she admitted to trespassing on multiple occasions, even after receiving the letter. So now, the prosecution, if they had any sense, they would take that information and say, Your Honor, she was on Cayman Mall Road, the cold hard truth, and we have evidence in her own words of her trespassing on multiple occasions. That's why sometimes you got to be careful. Y'all don't think I realize what's going on when y'all come here and blabbering off at the mouth. You'd be mistaken if you don't think I know what's going on. But you say what you got to say. I'm not going to stop you from saying what you want to say. And sometimes, honey child, that is why I just sit back and I remain silent and I let you talk, because the more you talk, the bigger the hole is that you're digging for yourselves. And you say plenty, and she said plenty yesterday. She admitted to going there multiple times. And I'm sure they knew that she was there. And so she's trying to rely on, well, the letter said, if they found me back here on the premise that, I'm going to be in legal trouble, but that means that they can't walk up and tell me to leave. Yes, they can. What does that even mean? Okay, the letter says, we're going to press charges. We're going to take you to court. That doesn't mean that they can't walk up to you and ask you to leave the premise. In fact, they have a legal obligation to do so to mitigate the situation. So they're not going to allow you to continue to stay. In her head, she's woefully confused about a lot of things. And like I said, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, because to me, I'm like, that's common sense, that's practical. But I also have to remember, maybe it's just common sense and practical to me, someone who has had legal training. Maybe the average person would be like, oh, but if he said that that's what he would do, that's his only recourse. It's not his only recourse, because it's his property. You're trespassing in his property. So the letter may have said, yes, we're going to take you to court. We're going to do that. But that doesn't mean that that's all he can do if you're trespassing on his property. He can tell you to get out. He can inform his staff, this is our policy. The other thing as it relates to the police and him, giving the letter to the police, that's fine, right? The reason why he did that is because he's putting the police on notice, which he probably does with all of his trespassers. Please add this to the list. This is a person who's not permitted on our property. so that when we call you and we say, Lovell Marriott's on the property, Diane Ebanks is on the property, whoever is on the property, you already know that this person is an uninvited person on our property. We have revoked their invitation to be able to come to our grocery store. So your officers don't show up saying, well, where's the notice and this, that. It's already on the record that, yes, we've been informed that this person is not welcomed. They are a trespasser. And do you know how you can become a trespasser? You could be going to a place every single day for 15 years. And the one day the property owner says, nope, you can't come back here. Once that has been revoked, you no longer have a right. You no longer have the access, right? So the owner of the property, they have a right to revoke your access pretty much at any given time. Some limited, very, very limited exceptions in law may apply. Okay? And so she doesn't comprehend that either. So she was really quite confused. You know, when she said that Dr. Lockhart had diagnosed her as a mad person, I really wanted, but she kept going on and on. I wanted to pause and say, first of all, Dr. Lockhart is not going to diagnose you as a mad person. What was the actual diagnosis? What did he say? Did he say you're bipolar? Did he say you're schizophrenic with whatever delusions? You know, there would have been a clinical, and I was searching for, like, give us what specifically he said, but she herself, excuse me, she herself does not even seem to know what her own diagnosis is. So in her mind, she just knows that he said something about her mental health and her mental well-being, right? It doesn't seem to be the case that she actually knows what that is. And once again, because she does not agree with him, right? She feels like she can defame him. She has said all sorts of protests and things about him over the years. That's been horrible. And the hospital, this and that, and France Manderson. I mean, she's committed defamation more than anybody else that I've seen, and yet has the audacity to tell me that I've defamed her because I say she's living off of NAU. But yet she admitted she doesn't have a job. Who you think feeding her for years, dating back to the 2000s? This woman has had no viable employment. And guess who's paying her rent? She's not living rent free at nobody's place, okay? NAU, the government of the Cayman Islands, is paying. And when her children were younger, they were helping her with those children as well. So don't come to me thinking that I don't know what's going on, Lavelle. And like I said, I challenged her. I'm like, go ahead and sue me. If I've defamed you, by all means, lawyer up and sue me. That's the thing to do. That's what I'd recommend if I was a lawyer. But I know that that's not the case. And it would be very, very easy to prove that that ain't the case, honey chill. We know all the school fees that were being paid, school uniforms, everything, because you ain't had no freaking job. It's as simple as that. And the good people of the Cayman Islands, as much as you hate us, we're paying for you to remain in our country. Girl, like I said, I would take money out of my own pocket to put her in a one-way ticket back to Jamaica, never to return again. And I'd even give her spending money just to make sure she could set herself up in Jamaica. But don't come back, Cayman. Someone says, good morning. Does Laval Idiot have a nonprofit certificate for her charity? Of course not. Also, her statement that she does not receive NAU does not ring true. What is her source of funds then? Does she use the NPO money she collects for her own benefit? So she claimed that she doesn't collect any money. She claims that she was just asking for food donations and then telling people to give it to the security guard. Again, I am flabbergasted that anybody in their right thinking mind would even think that something like that is logical. You know, that don't make no sense. Somebody said she was defaming her own character. She needs to sue herself. Defamation and her skinning out in front of her government building. Oh my God. This person says, I absolutely love Balika. How did Cayman allow someone like him to get away? San, I admire your calmness and diplomacy regarding Lovell, but let's call a spade a spade. She needs to be locked up with heavy medication, preferably in Jamaica. Oh Lord. Someone said to me that at one point she used to be kind of sceenish, but when the old man left her, that is when she kind of went crazy. Now, I don't know if there's like an official mental illness around the big D. I don't know if y'all ain't getting it, if you go crazy. I know sometimes it drives women crazy when they're getting it. But if you're not getting it, maybe that can happen too. But I do know that even the last time when she was out remember when she was out in the highway with the chairs and the tree branches and all that kind of stuff, doing all that foolishness, apparently she had a man. You all sit there thinking people can't be getting man. If she can get man, anybody can get one, I can tell you that. Anyway, she had one, and apparently he broke up with her. So there seems to be a little craziness that happens when a man leaves her, that she's going to take it out on all the rest of us. So I was kind of thinking about this yesterday, and I said to myself, if we could find a man to entertain Lovell, then, maybe we could keep her calm and out of everybody else's hair. Because then, she'll have time to cook for him and pay him mine and sex him up with them batty shorts that she'd be wearing and everything else. So maybe that is a solution to some of her mental health issues. Simone says, I don't think she has a mental health issue. I just think she's a narcissist. I agree that, and I don't know, because I'm not a clinician, so I don't know if narcissistic personality disorder is actually considered a mental health problem, because everything else is these days, child. Debbie says, what behooves me is the demonic wishes for Caymanians and Cayman to sink to the bottom of the earth. Earthquakes and hurricanes that would wipe us out. Yeah, I mean, again, trying to, I don't even know what it is. Like it's a acting thing. It's like a theater thing, and speaking in tongues and going on crazy. I didn't tell you guys about the one time that I actually gave her a ride and didn't know, because at the time I didn't know who she was, and boy, did I regret that. Felt sorry for this person standing at the side of the road. Good thing I didn't have my daughter in the car, because I would have butt kicked her ass out of the car. But she was standing out there by customs. I was like, oh, it's hot out here, this poor lady. Since then, I give nobody else a ride since, and I probably never will again. Oh, hell to the no. So I gave her a ride, and I said, listen, I'm not going very far. I'm only going from like customs to Alexander Plaza or place or whatever. So I can only take you as far as that. Oh, no problem. She get in. Started out normal. And then apparently she recognized who I was. This was before CMR days. And then she started talking about, different, it might have been early CMR days if it was. Then she started talking about, Dr. Lockhart and how he diagnosed her, and that puts a mark on her family name forever. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Then it escalated. And I remember sitting in the parking lot and trying to get her. I just pulled in. I said, okay, you got to get out now. You got to go. For like half an hour, 45 minutes, she just kept going on and wouldn't get out the fucking car. Yeah, she wouldn't get out the car. And I was like, bitch, you got to go. And she would not go. And then she starts hitting on the hood of the car. This is my blue Benz, or the other. I'm trying to remember which car this was. It might have been the blue Benz. So early days of CMR. Yeah. And I was like, oh, girl, you're not coming up in my motherfucking car that I have to work for and pay a mortgage, and you hitting on the dashboard. You come up and break something, you're not gonna be able to afford to fix it. You need to get your backside out of my fucking car. At that point, I was like, get the hell out. So big shout out to Arlen Brooks, because he is a police constable. He's a police constable, and he was sitting there watching it, and he could see the look on my face, because y'all know Auntie can't hide no kind of feelings, because the face just show everything. And honey child, my face was like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, you gotta go. And here she is flaring up with her arms or whatever. And he came over, tapped on the window, and I rolled it down. And he's like, listen, you gotta get out of the car and get going. I said, oh, praise the Lord. I said, okay, miss, get out. You gotta go. Because I wasn't having any luck, getting her out the car. And so the next thing is, that would have escalated into me having to do something more drastic. So big shout out to Arlen, Mr. Arlen. He's the pilot one, Mr. Arlen Brooks, because he observed the body language and what was going on. He came and helped me. Because I don't want to be turning up on people, you know. Because like I said, jail not designed for me, honey child. I'm not designed for jail. Let me put it that way. The jail might be designed for me, but I ain't designed for no jail life. So I try to do everything I can to stay on the right side of the law. Anthony says invitation revocation is very popularly used at liquor establishments, usually for rogue customers. You know who else has one too? Pasador Plaza. There's a little guy. He has, I don't know if he had part of his foot or toes or something amputated. Caymanian fellow that rides around town on his bicycle, always begging people, telling me he needs money for his foot and for medication and whatever. He's, you know, he drinks, and it looks like he's also a diabetic, but he always begging people. So he used to go to Full of Beans a lot, and he would be out there begging people. So they put up signs, no soliciting in the plaza, no this, no that. And Full of Beans actually stopped allowing him, you know, they would tell customers, don't buy him food. Don't feel sorry for him because you're encouraging him to stay here. And a lot of times it wasn't the food he wanted, it was actually the money. Ellard Miles, good morning, says, but why is she posting on her Keyman Breaking News page over and over again, her own self soliciting Woody's customers and posting pictures of those customers giving her cash? Oh, really? All that up there? Lord Jesus. And selling her horse tonic right in the aisles of Woody's store. Didn't she publish the very evidence that Woody banned her for? So how is that defamation? I mean, I didn't even know that. I don't know nothing about her and her horse tonic, but anyway. So Elard, if all of that you say is true and it's on her page, then what was put in the letter seems to actually be quite accurate. And if she was getting cash from people, even if she claims like, oh, that was different, that was for horse tonic, it don't matter. That's not what you do in Woody's store. She's really out of order. Kathy says she loves to sue people. That she does. He who asserts must prove. Thank you. He who denies need not prove. And that's a basic principle in law. Christopher says, hello, my lady, miss. All right, let's give a big shout out to Everything 345. Of course, they were listening to the program yesterday, and they put a little something together that made us all chuckle from yesterday's show. And Christopher having a flashback moment. Here it is. Oh, hello, my lady, God, listen. Hello, miss. Yes, honey child. Hello. She just don't listen. Lord have mercy. What a mess. Justice will be served, says, we, the Jamaican government, denied to give Lavelle a Jamaican man. Laughing out loud, John, Minister of Health, should go talk to her. Oh, maybe they might be a good little fit, you know. Kasia says nothing's wrong with her. She's just another one looking for an easy cash out of Cayman's expense. She's like many others, hate Cayman, but love CI dollars. You know, it was interesting how she mentioned, but she came here at money and she's not leaving a pauper. Well, I don't know nothing about her coming here with money, but her wanting to not leave her a pauper, that's why she's suing people, because she thinks somebody can give her $1 million to be able to leave Cayman. I mean, if she keeps harassing us, we might have to put together a little fund to do it, but Lord Jesus, no, sir. Philip says, too bad she doesn't make a scene on one of her flights to Jamaica so Cayman Airways can ban her from their flights so that she can't come back to Cayman. Ooh. But see, that's why, you know, in a way she is batshit crazy, but then she's also sensible because she knows how to control it, because she's never done that. I wish like you, Philip, that she would. Oh my God. Moya says, yes, Sandy, do a whole TV show to help her find a man. Call it Crazy Love for the L. I would tune in every week and watch. Oh my God. Oh, hello, Caymankind. Good morning, sis. What about the madness that she came to the Cayman Islands as a wealthy woman? She was only wealthy with madness. Yes. Sandy Lavelle came to Cayman with her wealth and mine, all of us. So she's not leaving until we give her millions back, laughing out loud. This person say horse, tonic, whiskey, tango, foxtrot. Oh my God. What? This person says, oh Lord, we can't say that about Sam Rose's wife now, you know. No. We can't say that. That would, yes, we can't say them things there. Let's move on. Next comment says, I had her living in my house for 2 days because I didn't know she was crazy. And a friend asked if I could put her up for 2 days. TF. Come see how that ended. Good morning. Lavelle needs to be PNG from the Cayman Islands. We need to have a march to get her and a few others out of these islands. Lord have mercy. Okay, so there was an incident I was telling you guys about this morning on the beach. I'm told that a nice worker just passed out or something, so hopefully they'll be okay. Somebody says, please, somebody show, put the encounter to music, says Selvin. She is selectively crazy. Yes, Chris. I told you she doesn't have a mental issue. She's just a narcissist. I agree with you, Simone. Johan says, congrats to Woody Foster and Fosters for standing up against the madness that has been allowed to continue to point where public nuisance is deemed acceptable by the powers at, I think it meant the powers that be, hashtag Caymanians Unite. Nobody is encouraging this woman except in her own mind. So I don't know what powers that be, but again, it's private property, so they have a right to deal with these individuals. And when they're on public property, then it's the government's job to deal with them from there. Yes, Debbie, that made me laugh too when she said that the Fosters reminded her of her own family. And I was thinking, in what way? I mean, the Fosters might have one or two tricky ones in the family, but as far as I know, they're not really a crazy bunch. But I think she was trying to say that her family is well respected and business people, merchant class people in Jamaica. I want to know where the hell she come from in Jamaica, because I know that that's not true. Chan, please. No, sir. Somebody said they heard she used to work at Sagicor. Someone told me she worked at some store selling perfume. I don't know about Sagicor, but she was selling jewelry or something. I think that was what's his name that said that? Yes, and he had bought a watch or something for her. And he said back in those days, she was actually very helpful and a very nice person. Oh Lord, Siobhan, people left garbage down your road. Lord have mercy. These people know that they don't do the pickup at Christmas and they still throwing bulk waste stuff out. Take it to the dump. You know that you can hire people to do that for you. Go call Hunter. I think that's what his company does. Everybody knows Samuel Rose. I can't with you. Leave Samuel Rose alone. Apparently he got issued another statement today from government if you misbehave. Anywho, why can't I find you as usual on my Facebook? Join the channel. How many times am I gonna tell y'all? If you join the WhatsApp channel, you get the link every day. What do y'all? I feel like I'm a broken record sometimes with some people. I'm trying to make your life easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay. All right, so there's a boat fire last night. Let me show it to you, honey child. This happened down in, is it the North Sound? Ooh, somebody boat get burned up. Look at this.
I don't even know who brought this one.
Damn, that actually looks like a catamaran, doesn't it? Wowee. Honey child. Let me see what my sources told me about that fire. Hold on. This morning at Crystal Harbor. Wow, whose catamaran is that that's on fire? Oh my God. Well, I don't have any other details other than that happened. No, sir. I hope they got insurance, honey child. What a mess. Not good. Wow. This person says I have the funniest listeners. Well, that's good. Have a sense of humor about your life. All right, so we'll post that up. So yeah, that looks like a catamaran. Who is this calling me? Hold on one second, honey, chillin'. Hello, good morning. Well, I'm on air. Not right this second, but you can call me after I'm off air. Maybe after 10:30. Okay, dear. All righty. Lots of people want to talk to me off air, honey child. They be wanting to get stuff done. Let me see here now. This person says, any of the funniest listeners. Oh my God. What? She been boning him forever? You did not just say that. Kimanian, she been boning him forever. Ooh, the sauce that I get, I can't repeat half of it. Lord Jesus. Y'all got just Cassius says JWBS. What is that? I said what I said. Who are you responding to? Who's JWBS? Somebody in the comment section. I don't know. Sorry, not sorry. Truth be offensive, not a sin. Might be offensive. Just because it's whispered doesn't make it not true. With all who think that way, wish all who think that way would leave. Oh, don't y'all be fighting in the comment section now. Somebody please do a 23andMe in Laval so that we can see where she really come from and find her people to come and collect her. So, yesterday somebody was saying, she's got a daughter here who has a good job at PwC. Why doesn't she deal with her? Listen, I don't think that, children should be burdened even as adults. They shouldn't be burdened with parents that they don't want. I think you have a right to emancipate yourself from family because you don't get to choose them. God knows. Hello, I'm a prime example. You don't get to choose them. And if you don't want a relationship with them and you want to cut them off, that's your business. You should not, just because blood not thicker than water. Just because you're born into a crazy family does not mean that you have to tolerate the craziness. So, I don't know who can claim her. But anyway, Marge Lee says bipolar means that what the person is saying is not logical. However, there are other things too. Narcissistic people are often nice to outsiders. It is their home people that they're mean to. So I would go more with bipolar with some of her diagnosis, with some other diagnosis, sorry. I'm not a psychiatrist, but those are my thoughts. I mean, the behavior seems a bit different for bipolarism. But there are actually different types of bipolarism. But how she switches from 1 second to the next, then calm again, that's not bipolarism. That is just, in common language, we would say she's batshit crazy. But that's because maybe she just, again, when she doesn't get her way, she seems to just act out. Tartarian says, tell Andrew Holness, PM of Jamaica, to come and collect her, right? That's what Chris Saunders should have been working on when he was over there kissing Holiness's ass all the time. He should have been like, listen, we got a couple undesirables in Jamaica and Cayman that are Jamaicans that you can come and collect now. All right. Y'all be telling me who's sleeping with each other. Lord have mercy. Well, if she decides to run for political office or he decides to run, that might be a matter then of discussion. So I would suggest you don't, honey chill. Y'all like to be coming out, putting yourself out there, and it's never a good idea. Okay, good. All right. Trump said we're going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Oh, the next 4 years is going to be so crazy. Lord help us. Wow. Oh, Marge, what a mess. What a hot mess. All right, folks, please go out and vote. You got a couple more days left to do it. I'm going to go get some work done today. It's Friday. Again, I hope you guys have a wonderful and safe weekend. Please, my God, miss say it every Friday, especially because I know weekend, y'all like to go out there and be, drinking and carrying on. Don't drive. I'm not going to tell you not to drink because God knows you're not going to listen to me with that. But just don't drive. Okay? Don't drink and drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. And if you're going to drink, don't drive. Okay? Simple as that. Do better. Oh, look at this avocado, egg, and veggie bowl. Oh, this looks good minus the onions. This looks delicious. I'm going to send this to the nutritionist. So I had an appointment with the nutritionist yesterday. And there are things that I'm definitely going to be working on. I'm going to get my ass in gear, quite literally, because that A1C number crept up. And nope. We can starve off diabetes, folks. We can do something about it. Type 2 diabetes is preventable, and we can do something about it. Somebody say, stop making them brownies. You know, the funny thing is, I don't normally eat the brownies. Probably 97% of the chances, I don't even taste the brownies. I make them for other people. So the brownies not really my problem. But it's a combination of things. Diet, definitely 85%, and then exercise. Oh, there's a new Black Panther movie coming out. What? That looks lit. Oh, this is the one with the sister? When is that coming out? Ooh, honey child, she just jumped. I just saw a little scene on Facebook. She jumped into a scene, and I was like, oh my God, that looks good. I love a good superhero movie. Oh yeah, this look good. I love the Black Panther series. Oh yeah, nice. All right. Anywho, so please try to be $1.5 million for a piece of land, 0.63 acres in Grand Harbor. If I win the lottery, right on the water. I don't really like waterfront property, you know. Not me. Because when the flooding come, I don't want to be next to the water. Anywho, big shout out to Polar Bear. They're coming today to help get me sorted out with air conditioning. Thank you so much to Polar Bear. Yes, after a time, you've got to replace those condensers and stuff like that. And so working on getting them done. We have 4 at our house, but one was already replaced. That's just a mini split for the server room, but then all the other ones, honey child. Anyway, you have to bite the bullet sometimes and spend money to get these things done, because what ends up happening is you're wasting, the CUC bill creeps up because they're inefficient and they're not working as well as they should. They're not cooling as well as they should. And, ducking, all sorts of stuff. So the good news is Polar Bear is coming to get me all sorted out today. Hopefully they should get the other units in. They should be finished. They did one on Wednesday. They come in. They're very efficient. One of our rooms, which is so bizarre, the gym, has no return. So it has how AC, you have like a return and what's the other one called? Where the AC comes in, but this one has no return. So it's not circulating. I'm like, no wonder that room is always hot. That was another excuse I was using when I wasn't in there. But so they're going to fix that for me. So when I get in the gym now, it'll be much more comfortable to work out and stuff. So I am doing a 28-day, maybe 30 days would make more sense, just 1 month, walking challenge. Johan has said he's going to join me. So no brownies for Johan during that time, because we gotta get with the diet and stuff as well. So he claims he's going to join me. I'll let y'all know how that goes, because we're going to hold each other accountable. And I want all of you, because we're going to record it, I want all of you to join me. Now, pickleball, if you're interested in playing pickleball and I kind of like you, message me. You'll know if I like you or not, because I am looking for people to play pickleball with. So I have some regulars on the schedule ready, but this week I played on Friday last week. I played Saturday and I played Sunday. I think I took Monday off, and then Al and I played, did you play Tuesday or Wednesday? I took off yesterday because I could feel it a little bit on my knee. So I do put my knee brace on my left knee, but I could feel it a little bit on my knee. So I said, you know what, let me take a day off, just rest the knee. And then this evening, I'll be back on the pickleball court again. So if you are interested in pickleballing, link me. I'm not a hardcore, number one ace player, but, get a good sweat and a good run around the court. Oh, actually, hold on. I can show y'all something. Hold on. Y'all want to see me on the pickleball court? I got some video. Hubby took some drone footage with his Christmas drone. All right, I'm going to show y'all this. Hold on. 1 second. Can I just open these up like this? Hold on, I might have to download these. All right, so this is the drone footage. Hold on, honey child. So this is us on the pickleball court. Marlon was practicing with the drone. Where is it? Where's the video? Pickleball. Here we go. So check us out. We don't look too bad. If I can say so myself. Look at us. Yeah, honey child. See the court there? Uh-huh. That's me over on this side. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was a win for me. Marlon likes to laugh at me when I'm playing. He's like, oh, you are there. Why are all the balls on your side of the court? I'm like, Lord have mercy. There's somebody in the neighborhood who's always smoking pot. So I've noticed that when I'm out at the pickleball court, I can smell. Look at that shot. Look at that shot. Take that. Yeah, baby. I can smell the marijuana as I'm trying to exercise on the court. I don't know who you are yet, but if I identify who you are, I'm going to report you to the police. Because I'm trying to exercise and breathe in fresh air, not your stinky pot. Oh, that one did not go over the net. Mm-hmm. Yes. Watch the serve. Ready? Boom. Look at that good serve. Yes, Al. Get that ball, honey chow. Oh, yeah. Look at that. In the net. So sometimes I do notice I hit it a little bit low, like I need to work on that. Another good serve. Coming across. The other thing that I do that I really need to work on is I actually need to move more. So anytime you play pickleball or tennis, you can't stay in a position. So that one was out, but you got to get centered. So anywhere it comes, you're like halfway where you can run in any direction to grab it. And so that's what makes you, that was the end of that one. Hold on. That's what makes you able to position yourself and just play better. So here's one that's a little bit lower to the ground. In the net again. That one was out. So you see me with my little knee brace, honey chill. Yes, gotta wear that. But getting out there and getting a little movement going. That one I didn't get behind enough, so it totally went out. But yeah, there we are. I love it. It's a lot of fun. If you've never played before, check it out. So that time I made it bounce twice. Obviously, I should have made it bounce twice, but that was a good shot. Good shot. Yes. And he couldn't return that one. So that's us playing pickleball, honey chill. And we have lights so we can play at night. See, there we are. Yep. Got to get it moving. He couldn't return that one. Then the bugs start to come out and then you're like, oh, Lord Jesus. When the bugs start coming out, honey child, you got to run inside because them mosquitoes will bite you. All right, Al's going to serve. Mm-hmm. Service. And you serve diagonally in the big box. Now, we're not really keeping score. We're just getting a good run and a good exercise, a good workout. But there you go. So, yep. We just try to get a good volley going. So that one was out. Mm-hmm. You can see the bugs are biting me because I'm like, and that one was out. Wrong box. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was out, but he played it. It's kind of hard on that side when you got to do a backhand because you gotta really get behind it. All right, so that's us. So yeah, it's a racket sport, so a little bit similar to tennis, but the court is smaller than a tennis court. So if you have a tennis court, you see a lot of people doing this with tennis courts. They put the lines, they just mark the lines to make it both a tennis and pickleball court, because the pickleball court is actually smaller. So it's not as much of a footprint. The racket is different. So it is a smaller racket, a different type of racket. And then the balls are also different. And you have different balls for inside versus outside play. So I need to pick up a few more. For some reason, I had the wrong balls. And I had indoor balls that I was playing with outside. The holes are different. It actually feels different when you play with it as well. So I need to get some more balls. So yes, somebody just messaged me, said they're interested in playing. Awesome. The more, the better. Cause then, I want to start scheduling people to play. Okay. We're going to get this weight off one way or the other, honey chill. All right, good folks. Everybody else good? Let me see. This person says, "Key anonymous, please." Let's see the message. Oh, okay. All right, I need to read all that. Okay. Do you have your pickleball shoes? Now, it's important to have non-marking shoes. So court shoes are different than other sort of regular tennis shoes because you'll score up the court. And it's expensive to paint over that court, honey child. So the only requests I have, I've got rackets. I've got extra rackets. I've got plenty of balls. Literally and figuratively, I've got plenty of balls. But you got to come with your proper shoes because I don't want my court all scored up now. But yeah, once you've got proper shoes, we are good to go. Non-marking shoes. And we can play. All right. All right, I think that's all I got for you today. Please have a safe weekend. Be good. I'm going to go eat my breakfast. I've got some turkey bacon and scrambled eggs, just water. I had a good chat with the, like I said, the nutritionist yesterday. We're going to make some immediate changes, drink as much water as I possibly can, aiming for 2 liters, which sounds like a whole lot of water. But anyway, yes, so I'll see you guys on Monday morning. All right, be good.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.